What's happening, people, and welcome back to All You Can Eat Warriors, and I mean All You Can Eat Warriors, and we are back, and we're mixing it up a little bit, people. As you can tell, we're bringing in that Prince Purple Rain vibes, trying to build your energies up, and I've got my good friend here, Ash. Sing us a tune, brother.
Oh, bro, I'm awful singer, man. I'm awful. I was just about to say, did you get those tunes on earlier? Is that you or something, bro? Because I know you're a good sax man.
Yeah, I do love, but no, I just chose the jazz. There's a little jazz option there. But speaking of music, my friend, what's your favorite genre? What music you into, brother? Let the people know.
I'm everywhere, man. Honestly, like I'm the most free-flowing person ever. So I can go from like, hip hop, rap, R&B to like country. I love country music. I grew up like my grandma was big on the country, so I'm all genres, bro. Punk rock. I used to get through my emo phase at high school. I think we all got through a phase like that at high school and that. So yeah, bro, I'm everywhere. What about you, man? What's your favorite, jazz? Or
yeah, I love my jazz, love my funk, all the old school, big into 80s music, man. All that type of stuff. So. Just love music, man. I love music and I love my footy. Those are the two great passions. So, but welcome in, everyone. Everyone in the chat. We got everyone in here tonight. Tanya, Jacko, my man Jazz, Tambatia, as always. Nigel, 40, how you doing, my man? Maiva, welcome in, my friend. And Jose, as always, great to have everyone in here. And Dave from Telstra. Yes, welcome in, Dave. Wayne, thank you, my friend. Yes, and we got everyone. Our regulars are in here, and if you are here for the first time, please, guys, give us a like and subscribe to wahsup TV. It's great to have you guys here. Everyone on Instagram, we are grateful to have you here, but we don't pull up the comments, unfortunately. I'll try to keep a check on my phone. Actually, my man Cook Island Kiwi here is saying, all you can eat warriors. It has given me the runs the last couple of weeks, but I'm ready to have my favorite meal again.
Oh, bro.
Big on my man Cook Island Kiwi, bro. He needs, you know what he needs? He needs a long version. Like he needs a short one.
Yeah.
But he needs his own long version ones. Because for ones like that, that's just perfect, man.
100%, man. What has he been doing? Get on the long versions, boy.
He's the ghost. I call him the ghost, not the goat, the ghost. The greatest of all signs. My man Cook Island Kiwi, big up, brother.
He has some great ones, man.
He's got some great ones. The mind that he must have for this type of thing is just insane. Yes, thank you guys. Oh, big up Stells. How you doing, Stells? We here. That's right. She's holding it down. Welcome. We ain't shying away tonight, guys. We're not shying away from
no way.
From here. Yes, and my man 40.
40, 100%.
Getting close to 1K. We are. I'm trying to catch up with my man Ashy. Well, let's be honest, man.
Real quick, bro.
Since my man jumped on, he's been helping the subs come up, so I appreciate him.
Oh, stop it.
And appreciate everyone here. Look, man, guys, the run sheet for tonight is pretty much little recap where we're at. I think we need to take some stock. We've had a few days to kind of absorb things. Yeah. We'll get into your team list after that. We'll get into combined 17 as well. Come up against another opponent we've already played. Different story away. Off a win as well, which is always tricky. So, yeah, we'll cover most of your bases. But, yeah, if you got any burning question, guys, chuck a Q in there. Put a Q at the start of your comment. And we will try and get to your questions as much as we can. I'll answer this one. Here's for Jose. Which team did Ash go for before the Warriors?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to ask? Of course you ask.
You're 100% allowed to ask, my man. So, obviously, yeah, when I was growing up, my dad's a massive Broncos fan. So I'd say the Broncos probably been my most watched team when I was a little boy. And my favorite player is like very well known. If you've seen me all around my YouTube spaces and stuff like that, is Darren Lockyer. So when I was a little boy, I thought Darren Lockyer was probably the greatest thing to touch a football. And then, to be honest, I've never felt anything until I've seen Shaun Johnson, and that's really what drew me straight to the Warriors. So when I was in high school, I had a whole bunch of mates and stuff, and they showed me Shaunie's highlights when I was like, this is early years. This is when he was in his under 20s years and stuff. And so I saw the highlights, saw that he was playing under 20s for the Warriors, had the headgear back in those days and that. And I was like, bro, I got to follow this guy all the way through. And I've always been a fan of the Warriors. I feel like the Warriors have always been a team I've always watched. But over in Australia, I don't know if you guys know, Channel 9 or whatever, back when the day, because my mum and dad didn't have a ton of money and stuff, like we didn't have pay TV, so I couldn't watch every single game, every round, all that on Foxtel over here in Australia. So Channel 9 was the main viewing, and if you all know, in Queensland, Channel 9 always plays Broncos games. Broncos get Friday nights, they get Sunday afternoons, sometimes barely even Sunday afternoons or Thursday nights. So whenever they verse the Warriors, I used to go to my auntie's place. If they verse like the Bulldogs or the Warriors, something like that, I'd go watch them there on Foxtel and stuff. And I was a fan of Stacey in that, and I just was a fan of like the football, but I wasn't a full-fledged fan until Shaun Johnson, and I've been happy ever since then. But yeah, the Broncos was probably my closest team to being a fan before this. I had a Broncos jersey when I was a little boy. My dad bought it for me and that. He's pretty devastated I'm a Warriors fan now, but it's good entertainment when he comes over.
Look, man, some of the best Warriors games from memory have been against the Broncos at Suncorp.
Yep.
I think the Sunday game where we played the basketball pass. I remember that was like a Sunday Arvo game.
Yep.
Channel 9 is always like we're not the biggest rating club on Channel 9. We don't hardly ever get any more games on 9. We might get one a year maybe. Yeah. But man, back in the day, they felt with Rabs calling it, it really geared you up for it, and especially the ones against the Broncos. I mean, I think the Friday night, I don't know if it was a 9 game, but the Friday night game where Shaun Johnson broke loose, and it was just good times, man.
I think the earliest memory I have of the Warriors when I was a little boy was I think it was 2000 and it was whenever Kevin Cambion punched on with Shane Webke. And it was the Broncos in the blue kit. And
the turquoise blue.
Yeah. And I remember it because my uncle, my auntie and all that hated the Broncos with a passion. They were any team but the Broncos. And my dad and my cousin were massive Broncos fans. So it was like sitting in the middle of it, seeing like one part of my family go on cheering on freaking Cambion, and one family cheering on Shane Webke. So it was like, that's where I got a taste of footy. And I've always been a massive lover of footy in general. So I'll follow every sort of team and that, but I've got a love for the Warriors now, and I haven't jumped off the bus ever since I jumped on it. Shaun Johnson, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about buses, guys, the bandwagon. This is your first big test, people. This is your first big test. This is see if you're going to stay on. If you're a true blue fan, this is probably the biggest test. And from what I've seen online, and the response, wow. I mean, don't go to Twitter. Don't go on Twitter, people. After 2 losses in a row, you'll find some interesting people that you thought were, supporters of the team.
Full-fledged.
Man, they can switch up. They got that bipolar behavior online. But anyway, man, let me ask you. Upon reflection, and NRL's a long season. Everything, things can change. 10 days rest. Looked like the boys had a good break. Everyone's coming back a bit refreshed. But taking stock where we at now, man, how are you feeling moving forward from this point?
Yeah, I would say, like, obviously it's definitely not red alert areas, but it definitely is starting to be of like, all right, there's something going on. We need to fix it before it turns into a massive problem. We still have time to fix it. And I still believe that if we get everything right, we've had periods where we've showed that we are one of the better teams in the competition. We just have a really mean 20-minute lull usually at the moment within the middle part of the game. And I've spoken to you off camera and all that about that, Levon, that is actually becoming a little bit of a problem now. I will always go back to, and it sucks because I don't want to keep saying, I don't want to use excuses, but we have been having a lot of turnovers in all our key areas in the football field. Also coming off our bench, a lot of our key players have been out. We get Bunty in that back this weekend. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. So really excited to have Bunty back in that. But currently I'm not stressing out yet. Just to see where the club's at the moment overall is making me a lot more positive about what place we actually are in. When I hear Webby talk, I'm a lot more positive of like, it's not the try to piece things together what we had in the past, Nathan Browns of the world and Kearney's in the world. When things go bad, is trying to piece things together and be like, when is it going to turn? Webby seems to be a very calm head, and I'm sure that he'll put pieces into place that will start turning it around. But this weekend's definitely the big one now, because if we don't do it this weekend, I won't say we're not out of the 8 or anything like that, but it's going to be a very tough task, especially with the Roosters, Panthers, and then the Dolphins before that bye. It's definitely a long period till then. So very beatable Knights team, in my opinion, even though coming off a loss last week. We got a chance to really come into this game and really show teams that we are learning. And that's a big thing too, is it's our second year under Webby. And it's not discrediting that, like everyone coming out before the season say we're premiership threats, and I still believe that we definitely are premiership threats. It will go all the way till late in the rounds before, like statistically, until we're not there yet. Before I say maybe not. But I think that this is the chance to really show people that we're learning to try and win. We're learning to be an overall organization that's just like trying to get over the little hump at the moment. As I keep saying, last year, round 10, we were 5-5. I think even around 11, we were 5-6 actually, because I'm pretty sure that round 11 game was the Penrith Panthers, the 10th at Magic round. So we ended up being 5-6, and we turned that around. This one's might be a little bit tougher because at that moment we had Luke Metcalf come back in, and there's a lot of questions at the moment over Tamati. But I still believe in the boys. I think there's something there. It's just we need to grow with the boys and really understand that is a long season. There's a long season ahead. But where's your thoughts at the moment, Levon? Because everyone's up and down at the moment. I really do feel that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna quickly share some comments, but I will get to that. But the big up my man, Cook Island Kiwi. This is the ghost right here, people. Greatest of all signs. He is. Those people jumping off the band and giving me the runs too. But welcome over here, brother. I appreciate you, and Detroit as well. Thank you, my friend. We'll get into your questions soon.
100%.
Look, it's not too hard to think that things can change quickly. Yes, there's validity to that. I think teams I have improved. Mm-hmm. The comp has grown.
Yep.
I just want to share my insights. I watched Penrith and the Cowboys on Saturday night and was just blown away by the quality. And in fact, just I suppose that you got to keep improving your game. Otherwise, we've seen it too many times where the comp just grows. And what I noticed as well is just you got to have both sides firing. Yeah, defense, you got to have both sides firing. Mm-hmm. Your halves have to be very physical. What I mean by physical is like go at the line hard. Doesn't mean you always take a hit, but you got to show real intent. Like I really like Dearden's game. Yep. Cleary and Luai they make themselves felt, whether it's on defense or on offense. Yep. So yeah, just for me, it's a constant evolving game, and of course injuries and all that plays a factor. Mm-hmm. But your defensive work has to, in order to be the great teams, you have to have that defensive sharpness. But I agree with you. This game will be the telltale sign. 10 days off. Couple
of troops back.
Couple of troops back against a team without Ponga, although they had a decent win. Mm-hmm. It's a good pack, and we'll get into that. But this will tell me where we're at.
Yeah.
Even though playing at Newcastle away is always difficult, if you're a top 4 genuine team, I think this week even without your main troops like Marata or whatever, I think we'll be able to know by this weekend where we're at.
I think you would have saw too also on the weekend is how quickly a football game can change, and really learning to stop the bleeding and stop momentum is really what Penrith tried to do the best they could against the Cowboys. If you watch that game at the weekend, you know, the Penrith Panthers were, you know, dominating them and like big chunks of that game. And then come that last little moment where the Cowboys started to get a sniff that they can really get something over the Panthers, they really came home hard. And, you know, the Panthers let in, 20 points in that game. It's a fair amount, but what really mattered was that last ditch efforts to really hold out on their line. Those are the moments we need to learn. And we had that last year. It feels like we've had that lost a little bit this year. For me, I'm not worried about our attack. Like, I know a lot of people are. I always believe that attack will grow for a season due to combinations and stuff. Defense is the big thing. And no matter what, the best team defensive wise, or at least the top 4 defensive team in the competition, hasn't won the competition. I'm pretty sure I heard recently, like not since like 2015, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Even if that, right? So that's the big thing. We have errors in our game. Like we'll touch on a little, like, you know, the Titans game at a weekend, we had our first, for me rewatching it, we had our first 30 minutes or 20 minutes or so where we were in control. I know we leaked that try to AJ Brimson, but we actually we actually brought back the possession really well in that period there. The turning was starting to happen, but it only really happened when about 10 to 15 before halftime and 10 to 15 after halftime, which I've always heard by coaches is the most important period of a game in moments. We let go of 4 penalties in that period there, and we had 2 crucial errors in that period there. And that's the big thing too. If we're going to give away those penalties and errors, because that will happen no matter what in a game, we got to defend our line better. And that's the biggest thing overall. So the boys just got to get cohesive on their line and really just bite in with each other. That's the biggest thing. No matter what our attack does, our attack will find points. I believe in that. We got one of the best middle attacks in the competition by far. And our right side attack, even though people are cluing in, we still have moments where that's going to find its points. Our left side will open up later on in the season when we build combinations. I do believe in that, no matter what. And I don't even think that we're going to be a balanced side. I believe we're still going to be right side reliant because Shawnee is our main dictator of our playmaking and stuff. And a lot of teams do have that. But our left side will need to get up to a level where it's a lot more like, you know, we can go that way, if that makes sense. But defense is the biggest thing. We cannot go from a team that were conceding 14.3 points per game to start the season with 3-game average, 4-game average, dropping now within our last 3-game average 26.3 points. We cannot do that when our attack still holds up around 20 points per game. That hasn't really dipped too far out. So that's the biggest thing we needed to key on at the moment.
Yeah, right. You're absolutely right. I think the bodies actually spoke to was messaging someone about they've been speaking to guys within the camp, and it sounds as though there are some guys that have really been overworked at the moment, and we know who they are. We can tell on the pitch that you know the footy field will tell you everything about about how a team's going. So it's not like we need to say who it is, but there's definitely guys that are looking tired. So is there? I suppose you know Webby has been pushing guys like AFB, Barnett, and they've been doing well. Tohu, Egan, you know, I think Tohu's had his first break of the year, maybe, or probably since Walker has come on and he was able to have a breather. Do you think we're still obviously there's been the injuries to the key guys like Marata?
Yeah.
Has Webby been more on the cautious side, not trusting, I suppose, the Ales or the Zion Mayus to play longer minutes than what he would want, or do you think that those guys are just not quite there? And where do you think Webby's at, or you know, in terms of because he's kind of got that he wants his top guys on the field all the time, but then they're getting burnt out, so you're getting a diminishing return where you got these young guys that are not quite there.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there is validity to say that maybe he's kind of winning these younger boys into the competition, even though how bad our injury run actually has been to where we've looked like that we needed to have probably more minutes out of Zion, or we needed to have more minutes out of like a Ale, or these other boys that cover a lot of our big middle forwards. Because I think we can all see it when Barnett and AFB come off the field majoritarily. That's when our 20-minute dip happens. You can really clock it from there. Tom Ale, like, I believe he's incredible. He's growing. As you say, I feel like at the moment he's more of an attacking based impact player. He's not so much a clean up, defensive player in the ruck. Zion at the moment is just a ball of energy. It's his first game. He's incredible in Cup. He does a lot of this in Cup and stuff, but we can't. I feel like Webby's doing the balancing act of, I don't want to drop these boys in way early, for the experience level, even though Laban's been pushed into a starting position, these moments and stuff like that. But I don't think he wants to do that too much to really burn these boys out as well and be put in an environment where they kind of like will get hurt in their development in any sort of way. I know it's kind of hard to look at it this way of be like, hurt their development, like what's going to go backwards from there. But sometimes when you get beaten up, let's say, and they play longer minutes and people start pointing them out that they're not doing the things that they want to do. Like at the moment, there's a positive vibe around these young boys and that's good. But when people start pointing out all their negatives and there's a negative stigma around a player, it's really hard to change that, especially when they go back to Cup and try and get back in. So I believe Webby's doing a balancing act, and it's at the moment, I would say this has been the first proper hard critique I've had on Webby throughout his whole tenure at the moment. It does seem like that balancing act has hurt him more so than not, especially with our first grade of like losing to the Dragons, the Titans, even though coming off that draw, the Manly game and that. Maybe he has, put way too much into these older boys and just trusted they'll, steady the ship for as long as they could. But you can't do that for a long period for a season. And if you've seen with the Panthers of the world, the Broncos of the world, the Roosters of the world, all that sort of stuff, the top teams in the competition, the Melbourne Storms, their bench carries a big load. You know what I mean? Like they turn the game over. They don't have a massive dip coming off their bench. Like the Panthers have a dip. Fisher Harris and Leota to come off for Lindsay Smith and Liam Henry, the young boy coming through, but they got a ton of potential. They seem to hold the weight up. You see the Melbourne Storm, they'll bring off, someone put Nas on to continue on that, momentum. We haven't had that at the moment because of those boys being injured. And unfortunately, those younger boys, we just don't want to break them too early, if that makes sense. And I feel like I spoke with a mate of mine today, and I was like thinking that is there validity to maybe that Webby wants to keep a lot of these boys together in Cup so they grow together in Cup and grow cohesiveness. And it's the reason why we're buying a lot of experienced players to hold them out before getting into that position. So when these boys come in, they come in together, they're cohesive and they're a unit. Because all these boys have all come out and said they want to be Warriors. Like they want to be Warriors for full time. They want to change that stigma of New Zealand players going overseas and stuff to get an opportunity. Is he keeping them together and holding them together, developing them, and then when they come up together, sort of like what the Panthers did very early on with, Luai, Leota and all that coming in at one big moment. And they're all just a big unit that played with each other through the younger grades. Have you thought about that a little bit or?
It's a good point. I've never thought of that, but there's warrant to that. Then again, it's that bridging element where he's got to wait for these guys to come through while the team potentially loses. And I think he's doing really well. He's walking a tightrope.
He is.
He's not going to get it right because if he plays the guys like Laban and Zion, and I'm not saying Laban had a bad game.
No.
But just an overstretch on Boyd and Boyd scores. It wasn't all his fault, but he has to make that mistake in the game to be able to learn and grow. That's the only way he's going to learn from that mistake. So you're going to take the pros and cons of playing a Laban, but that will benefit a Laban this week or 100%. Whenever. So he's on a tightrope balancing act. I think he's trying his best. We can argue the worst one was probably the Pompey and Roach option.
Yep.
So there's validity to all of it. I just think, do you like you're saying, you got to wean them in a little bit. Sometimes you got to give them a good shot, and if they fail,
give them points.
Yeah. But then again, you don't want a kid you don't want a Manu Vatuvei on at Parramatta dropping 5 off the top and I shout out my bro here, Kossi. Remember Koss had a bad game when was it 2022? Was it? I can't remember which game it was.
How hard is it for him to shake that stigma,
bro? Everyone was killing him. Everyone wanted Koss gone, and now you'll see in the chat bringing Kossi. So
I know Pompey's the same.
Yeah, Pomp's the same.
Barry's the same. Was the same.
And Webby's done such a good job to get those guys through. They needed a reset from the Brown era, like massively, and they're coming to the perfect coach to do that, and confidence is high. And I'm so happy for them. But this is probably the most safest group to join into than any other Warriors team in recent history.
100%, bro.
So I'm kind of like, okay, Webby, you need to push these guys a little bit. And Maiva saying, the Storm 70-10, that how that's just so tough for some guys that they won't be able to get over that.
Exactly.
But that's where it's a balancing act, and I get both points. I get both sides, bro.
I think the big thing that really stuck out to me about that whole thing of like the boys are trying to stick together and cup and grow through each other. Because like if you think about it, they played SG ball and all that coming up together, like the Stowers Smiths, the Zions, the Halasemas, all those boys, right? Did you see the video of Zion that the boys posted up on Instagram with One New Zealand, and Zion didn't look happy with his game at all. Like all the boys are celebrating. It's like your first game. He's like, nah, I lost. You could actually see him say that. I'm sure of it. I don't know if I'm looking too in depth in that, but I'm sure he said, nah, I lost. And like he had his head down, but all the boys got around him. Then they got a photo together, and that group that had the photo there, they've come up that system together, and that's a big, big key that a lot of other teams don't really have properly. Like the Dragons struggled with putting their team together. They had a system that had an SG ball side and all that took out the Panthers coming up through the development systems. And that was Bud Sullivan, Tyrell Sloan, and a couple other pieces that they were trying to put in together, right? The Armones of the world and all that. And they failed at doing that to hold them out because at the time, the Dragons took one sniff at them and said, we want them in, chucked them in. Look at them all now. Jaden Sullivan's barely getting a start at the Tigers because of he's been blown out of proportion of like jumping into the squad. Then he got made to look as a 9. He wasn't a 9. Sloan's jumped in way too early. Now everyone's critiquing his game so far. He's still young. He's still got to grow. And Armone, he's currently out of the game right now. If we don't do it right, these things sort of happen. But if we do it right, where this group of players stay together, they play cup together, they learn how to win together. Like that Harold Matts team, if they stay, as many of those units stay together, they come through, they win Harold Matts, they win SG Ball, they get the winning system all the way through. As soon as they get into NRL in their first grade, that culmination of years playing with each other, they understand each other. That helps so much. It's what the Panthers have been doing for so long. I don't want to keep relaying to the Panthers, but they're such a good overall like pathway of how first grade can become, you know what I mean? Like be a dominant first grade squad. So that's really my thoughts on it overall. It was so good to see that photo of all those boys together and see how close they were.
Yeah, they were.
To hear in the media that they were like, I want to stay a Warrior and that's a big positive we need to carry on for our futures, especially, with the Harold Matts and all that.
Yeah, and it's just a patience game, we just gotta. This is gonna happen. Things are gonna,
We are not the Warriors of old. I
no.
believe that. That's
some of the stuff I've seen online. I'm like,
I know.
Last year was a fluke. I'm like, what the frick, man? How can there be a fluke?
It's 2 games.
It's like, but yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get into it. But anyway, guys, the people that are on here, 52 of you on YouTube, please give us a like and subscribe if you are here for the first time.
Please.
Helps the algorithms, helps us continue to promote the show. And, we are pushing for that 1K, people. So, yeah, we're trying to get there, following in the footsteps of my man, Ash.
Stop it.
Look, great discussion. Great to see the chat lighting up. We can't get to everyone's comments, but
yeah, you guys are amazing.
I think everyone's talking good things. I understand it. So, yeah. But anyway, let's get into this team list.
Mm-hmm.
My man. Look, let me just pull this up. So obviously the big one's back is Capewell.
Yeah.
And who else? We got Bunty in there as well.
Do you think
Bunty's gonna play?
I'm not sure, bro.
It's like he's number 17, yeah.
Yeah, but like I'm sure maybe he's close if he's going to get named there. Like, I don't know if the boys will push him over the edge, but when we first heard about it, I think he wasn't due back till mid-season, wasn't he? Or even like round 12s and stuff like that, wasn't it?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes. So hey, sorry, bro. Did you have stats? Did you want to do your stats segment now or after?
Yeah, bro, we'll run through it now if you want. If you guys want to see, like,
have a look.
This one I've mixed it together with like the Dragons and stuff like that. So it's really up to you if you want to hold it out till maybe the end of the show and really to get a culmination of where we go against the Dragons.
Do it now, man. That's a good one.
Okay.
Guys, Ash is going to do this segment now. Guys, just want you to listen in quickly. I need all your attention right now. Prepare for tomorrow night. Ash is doing his own stream with what's the name of it, brother?
Round the League with Ash, bro. Round the League with Ash.
Yeah. So actually, give us a little quick bio, bro. What the show's going to be, etc.
Yep, pretty much is like, the whole premise is really in the name. So Around the League. So basically, we are a Warriors channel, right? We're very much a Warriors channel, but I like to also give I want to give you guys all the outlook around the competition currently right now. And so you guys get a decision on where we really sit, how other teams are tracking. So first of all, I'll touch on like all the big news of the week. So there's a lot of big news actually going on currently. The Luke Keary's retirements and stuff like that. So we'll touch on those. I know all you Warrior fans are massive rugby league heads. So I think it'd be awesome to talk to you guys through that. I want to go through, the hots and nots. So the teams that are the hot right now, the informed teams and the not informed teams currently at the moment. And then also maybe finish it off with a little bit of something I'm going to call Punter's Paradise. So I want to go through my tips for the weekend, and I want to go through my little value tips for the weekend. So hopefully you guys show find some value out of me. It's not going to be mainly Warriors based, but I will obviously put a little bit of spice of Warriors in there because we are wahsup TV. So I hope you guys do enjoy that. But really excited to do it tomorrow, my man.
Awesome. And guys, so that's every Wednesday. Ash is going to be doing that, guys. So look out for the updates. I know on thing, but guys, don't hassle him. It's not all you can eat Warriors on Wednesdays, okay? So if you come in the chat and it's no Warriors talk, hey, why aren't you talking about Bunty and Jacob Laban? Well, it's around the league, okay? So just make yourself aware of that. He's talking all things NRL and bringing his knowledge, and he's doing a great job. So guys, if you're into that. I know most of you will be because you guys are rugby league addicts. So jump in and support the Kaupapa tomorrow night and weekly from now on. So it's always great. We're just trying to flesh this channel out and give you guys as much content as we possibly can. We all know we're working people, but we appreciate the support. And my man Nenad, how was that 60 for you, boy?
Welcome back.
Nah, I can't talk to him. He beat us, bro.
Still, I just want to say, Celtics train. This guy.
Take that 60, boy. That's cool. Yes, so you go ahead, bro. I'm just gonna grab a quick drink of water because you can tell my voice is drying up. But I'll let Ash get on with the stats.
100%, guys. All right, so first of all, I do want to bring on a little bit of positivity to us because at the moment it is a little bit sad that we've lost 2 games in a row now, and both 2 really not great opposition. And sorry, Nanad, you get to hear that. Obviously, the Dragons, getting slapped over the weekend and that. But anyway, so the one bigger positive I could take out of this overall is if we actually get a win this weekend coming up with the Knights, we get a spot back in that top 8 discussion, especially if a couple of games do go our way as well, a couple of other results and that, we do stick around that 8 discussion. A lot of that is help from actually our draw against Manly. Obviously, we would have loved a win against Manly, but if we lost against Manly this season, this whole 3-game average would have looked a ton worse. So, that is a very good sign, guys. Obviously, one more win, we're back in the 8 discussion, and then we can really sit around and start, focusing on the big squads. And I think, me and Levon touched on before the season, the biggest thing we want for our team this year is what we learned from last year is we actually got to beat the big squads during the season, figure out how to get over the top of those squads. So when it comes to the postseason, we got a little bit more confidence going into those games because it was pretty disappointing to see us go down by a bit of points against the Panthers and the Broncos. Even though I thought we performed pretty well in moments of those games, we still got blown off the park in those moments of those games as well. So we can beat all the other teams in the competition. We've known that from last year. We've already ticked off the Rabbitohs a couple of weeks back, which is a team that we always struggle with overall. But if we get over the top of the Roosters, the Panthers and stuff like that, if we get at least one of those scalps there, I think that'll do wonders for our confidence as a squad overall. So one win outside the 8 currently. If we get a win this weekend, we're back in that 8 discussion, which is very, very good to see. Overall, 3-game rolling average, because if you know me, guys, I like to run by 3-game rolling averages. Not 5 games or where you get a longer average overall. 3 games is shorter. You get to see more form base. If you go too long, you don't get to see a form of a squad. And if you go too short, obviously you just don't get to see too much of a squad overall. You're basically just watching week to week. So 3-game rolling average. So we had Manly, the Dragons, and the Titans. Obviously a draw, loss. Defensively is where we fell off a cliff during this period here, conceding 26.3 points per game, which is very, very low. Not the lowest in the competition, but we have dropped outside the 8, within that rolling 3 average with that defensive effort there. So we do need to pick up on that end for sure. Where our overall average currently right now is at 18.8, which is not too bad. It's still a top 5, top 6 defense, I'm pretty sure last time I checked on Fox Sports, which is not too bad overall. But this rolling 3-game average of 26.3, if we continue this on, this will hurt our averages overall the season, and it doesn't show a good sign defensively. Attacking-wise, on the other end, we are holding around that 20 points per game, where our actual average is 21. So our attack hasn't dropped off completely. And even coming off last year, I think our average at the end of the year was at 24 or 26. So we're not too far away from that. We definitely want to grow from that as well. But defensively is where all our eyes should be at the moment. So conceding 4.6 tries per game, where before we were conceding only 3 tries a game, and scoring 3.3 tries a game, which is still around our average of 3.5, which is not too bad. So usually we'll score about 3 tries a game and all that. So now comparing to Newcastle, because they're our matchup this weekend. Obviously, I really want to see how Newcastle's form's going at the moment and that. So they've had the Chooks, the Dogs, and the Dolphins. Obviously, 2 losses and a win with the Dolphins last weekend, conceding 24 points per game. So I know I said before 26.3 for us at the moment conceding. The Newcastle Knights usually hold around a 20-point conceding average overall for the season. They've dropped off to 24 points per game. So this is not where we want to be. We don't want to be around these sort of teams defensively. We want to be upwards of where we were to start the season, about that 15 to 18 game average, and that's where we want to be. And scoring at the moment, Newcastle are at 16.6 points per game overall, and their average at 17.3. So we can definitely attack better than Newcastle Knights by the stats at the moment. Defensively, they are holding a little bit firmer than us, but only by about a couple of points or so. So we've actually noticed that from our first game against the Newcastle Knights as well. And a lot of that has dropped off due to Ponga going down as well. So that's very disappointing for Newcastle Knights coming into this game. They concede 4.3 tries per game, and also only score 2.6 tries per game in their 3-game rolling average. Again, this is coming off of the Chooks, the Dogs, and the Dolphins last weekend, where they got a really nice win over the Dolphins. So those are the overall stats coming into this game. We'll touch on a little bit later on my thoughts on the area we need to attack with the Dolphins and stuff like that. It's more of a visual sort of look in that. But currently right now our attack is better than the Newcastle Knights currently in the 3-game average. Defensively, we are slightly worse than Newcastle Knights currently right now. And that's the area I really do want to fix up on, because we need to get to these points where we're only conceding, a couple of tries per game, because that's really what wins competitions overall.
Yeah, really great stats there. And if you can picture it with the numbers adding up, it's going to be a close game currently. We don't know what the impact is from this 10 days down and regroup. And I mean, where we talked about, they had a good video session, those types of things, all positivity, and but we need to see that on the field. So, but appreciate that, guys. And that's going to be, take those stats, guys, to Punter's Paradise tomorrow, and you'll be away making millions.
Hopefully.
And just tip us a little bit, or tip Ash, actually. He's the one giving you the stats. But
keep the receipts.
Keep the receipts. Let's just go through the squad. Back 5 is unchanged. I know people will be crying out. People still screaming up for the RTS to the wing and Montoya out, and okay. But the back 5 is unchanged. Same with the halves. Front row still again, and it's good. I mean, the good thing for me though is that Egan has played pretty much 80 minutes last couple of weeks. It tells you he can do it.
Yeah,
and knock on wood that he stays healthy. Capewell was back with Jackson forward, so I'm sure Jacko's moving back to the left.
Yep, with
Capewell back. Tohu obviously holding down the lock roll. Dylan Walker got through a good game, and he's looking healthy. Tom Ale, Jacob Laban, and Bunty are 4. And sometimes when you're sitting in that number 17 spot, it's kind of like you don't know if that person's going to drop out or come in. Pompey, obviously the 18th man.
Yep.
And Mayu's still in the 23 at the moment with Kossi, Tuapiki, and Tanisdale Smith, but we'll know they'll drop down to 19 by 24-hour cutoff.
Yeah.
Let's go back quickly just to Bunty. Do you think? I know people have been saying he's actually recovered quicker than what they've expected, and he's potentially going to play. Do you think he will play?
I would sway probably like the 80-20. Like, I reckon if he's been named, I don't think they'll name him this early. If they did, if he was coming back off injury, for me, I would love, like, you would have seen him maybe more so in the reserves, like, you know, from 18 to 23 overall. And really the only person I can see that could properly replace him off our bench is really Zion. Like, because Stowers Smith, from memory, I still don't think he's in our top 30 squad, unless I'm wrong there. If he is, then maybe we could slot him in. But we've seen Zion be in the system, like, for the last, you know, obviously coming in last week. So overall, I think that he should be able to play 80% wise. I'm thinking he's going to be there all the way till. The only person I can see him dropping out with is Zion Maiu. And from there, we have another bench of Dylan Walker, Tom Ale, Jacob Laban, and Zion Maiu. And I just don't know if Webby will run with that, if that makes sense. So.
Yeah. I mean, man, if Bunty plays, how important is he kind of to how we're going this year? It feels as though he's holding a lot more value than what people had him last year.
To start, yep.
Tells you a lot about what the natural eye doesn't always see or doesn't value. I think his stats sit somewhere within the next gen stats. You know how we talked about next level stats.
Yep.
The generic stats, he doesn't light up the page.
No.
10 runs for 150. You're not going to get that. No. But maybe if there was a stat for super tackle, what's the numbers for him while he's on the field in terms of ruck control? I don't know what, something like that. He's probably right up there with some of the best.
Yep.
In terms of bench impact for that specific thing. But man, he's playing such a big role, bro? What's your thoughts in terms of his value this year?
Yeah, 100% to start the year, bro. Like, I, in my opinion, I wouldn't have had Bunty in our starting lineup if he wasn't starting, if that makes sense. I would have had Barnett come off the bench possibly if there. And that only came in later on during our preseason look, because I didn't even have Bunty in my thoughts overall all the way up till probably, the last couple of games of the preseason where he kind of impressed me. And then having Anton in here and really, driving the Bunty appreciation definitely put me over the edge too. But from what we've seen, obviously the last couple of weeks where we've been lacking a lot, we have our errors and stuff like that. Obviously our goal line defense has lacked as well. But during that little bit of a lull, I feel like we lose the ruck. And that's a big thing. A team's actually starting to find their ways into our own end and really put points against us that way too. So Bunty is like very key, usually behind the ruck. He's a strong defender, moves quite well. And that's another one why I love Jazzy. And like Jazz Tavanga is so good at, in behind the ruck. He's got quick feet. He can move on his feet and that. He chops people really well. Bunty's very similar. Bunty's just a really solid defender, wraps the ball up very strong, top wrestler in our club at the moment from what I'm hearing. He's one of their strongest wrestlers and stuff like that. So these are all good signs. And plus, like, since he's gone out of the Rabbitohs game, bro, can you tell us how many wins we've had in that period?
That's a good one, man.
I'm sure Anton would love that stat.
He'd love it. Yeah. Supports his argument all day. But no, it's a really good point. I just want to actually talk to Detroit's point and maybe something to look at. Do you guys prefer a combo of Bunty Ale, Bunty Zion, or Zion Ale as our two props off the bench? I'll go first. I'll go first, and I'll see what you say.
Yep.
I'm going to go for at the moment, and I would love to see a Bunty Zion type bench off combo for me. What I liked about Zion was completely direct. Distinctly forward.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got footwork and stuff, but he was just so intent on attracting defenders. I like his lead lines. I like the attention he's drawing. I think that the second try to AFB, he played a little role in terms of just really hitting those lines.
Yep.
I like that. I think if I'm comparing the two, we kind of need that. In most games right now, and if we're thinking the team's a bit leggy and we need a bit more of that type of impact.
Yeah,
I feel like Ali's good still. He's got great footwork. He's got a bit of versatility too. He can really move him out to the edge sometimes to cover defensively. Exactly. but something like a Zion is nice. But what's your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I think like what if we're going right now, like right now, I sway the way more so on experience. I've always been sort of the player of like, I want experience as much as we can. That's especially for the club that we're trying to build currently right now. So I would go Bunty, Ale currently right now. But even then, like with our full team, right? If our full team was back, unfortunately, we wouldn't see Zion till maybe if there is an injury problem or something like that. Like if you think about it, Murata comes back. If Jazzy comes back, like does Tom Ale be the one to drop out? Laban's starting to really hold his position there in our bench looks at the moment. Like, does he maybe find his way out and Ale finds, holds a spot, or does it happen vice versa? Currently right now, I'd go Bunty, Ale, just more experience-wise. Bunty, a lot of that clean-up work in the middle. Ale is a bit more of he moves well in the middle. He's got a bit more footwork to him and stuff like that. But Zion's incredible. And it's not me taking anything away from Zion. I just want to see Zion continue to do what he's doing in Cup and just continue to learn the game, continue to be that incredible prop that's pioneering our Cup team right now with Tanner Smith and grow a combination there. His time will come, guys. Like, I just don't want to push these guys way too early. And, as I said before, if we think of our full season, get our full-fledged team back, who of those boys would really stick on your bench anyway? Obviously, for me, Dylan Walker's a definite. Bunty at the moment seems to be a definite currently right now, seeing what's happened when he's been out of the squad. The other two is Murata comes back, and does Jazzy find his way back into that lineup? We wouldn't see Zion. We wouldn't see these other boys there, in my opinion. So that's where I'm looking at it. I'll go Bunty, Ale from that.
Yeah. I think... Yeah, and there's kind of like I know there's like a little depth chart, and maybe Laban is kind of the first cab off the rank.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of get it. If you drop him out and bring Zion in for him, so I weirdly feel like Laban would do well after a little stint in the first grade and go back to Cup.
Yeah, I do feel that too.
And Zion might be the one that would it's like take turns.
Yeah.
Take turns on the roller coaster. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't hog the controller on the PS. Give me a game. That's what I'm kind of feeling like. 100%. Just give me a blend on the game, please. I haven't had a turn yet. Mom, can you tell them? You tell
Laban's holding on super long, bro.
But they're kind of at that level where it's like they could both benefit from the opportunity. Yeah, that's my thought anyway.
See, I understand the argument overall, and it's so good to see like players like this get the the fan base so excited for our future, because Zion definitely is our future. And me saying this is not taking any away of what my thoughts overall on Zion, because I think Zion's incredible, and I believe that he will be a player that locks in that spot and over time has more potential, in my opinion, than Ale. But at the moment, Ale, for me, is still further along in his development currently right now. He's been more experienced. He's played a lot more games in first grade. He's used to the contact. What happens if Zion plays past that, 15 he got over the weekend, or 30, and his drop-off comes so sudden? Like, if you guys watch the Doggies, I know this is a player that really comes out of nowhere in that, but Amal Silly, he's been in our club currently. You remember we had him during COVID period?
Oh, wow.
Wahsup. We had him for a little period. He shipped over to the Dolphins, and then he's gone to the Doggies.
Okay.
He, for a good 20-minute stint, has a ton of potential, right? 20 minutes, incredible. Looks like one of the most damaging front rollers, runs hard, busts through lines, stuff like that. After that 20-minute, bro, the drop-off is incredible, like unbelievable. Like, he falls off tackles. He's late to, a marker. He's late into like defensive line. He's late. Yeah. Those sort of things. Like Zion, he's got to grow. Let him grow. Like Ale hasn't done too bad to drop him out of the side, in my opinion. Zion will be there in the future. Let him grow.
Yeah, and I even think there was some comments I heard about Zion kind of, I think he'll grow into it. I think he'll definitely grow into it over time. But let's just quickly talk about, there's good comments here, just about, what's your thoughts on CHT replacing Tamaiti? Alec S here. Now, I'm kind of taking a stance on Tamaiti, is that I think he can be... I mean, I've shared it on my stories about him being put in positions where he needs... That left side, I feel, at times need to play a bit more flatter.
I do believe that a little bit now.
I see teams like that play at the line a bit more with all the options, so that you can play the short ball, or you can play the cutout pass, depending on what the look might be.
Yep.
I don't completely blame him for everything. I think defensively he's quite sound too. His he's got really good elements to his game.
Yeah.
And it's funny because those halves are so contrasting in many ways. Like, Metcalf is just so young and fresh and speed and everything is athletic.
Yep.
And just offers something different. CHT, I think the difficulty is just his massive value that he brings. You're seeing it now where we're missing him as an option to bring off even like an Egan, give Egan a break, give other guys a break. Without Dylan Walker, he was doing a good job at lock sometimes, playing the ball. So it's just so interesting that we've got such different skill sets for all three of them. But I'm willing to give it a little bit more time with Tamaiti and his line, his channel. I just hope the coaching staff can get him in better positions to operate. I've even said sometimes to push him in to get at first receiver. But the guys like RTS and that, I think they need to be up on him.
Yeah.
Give him options at the line. Don't play that deep look on the short side. I don't know what I saw. I shared that one thing and I was like, what are these guys doing? Like, you're not actually a decoy. There's no lead runner for you. You're just you're running that vertical look and there's no lead runner to attract you to create anything for you. I was like, yeah.
What it looked like to me on that one, bro, was like, it legit looked like that maybe Tamaiti had the overcall and he overcalled at the wrong moment where the other boys just had no communication that he was going to be running that edge.
Good call.
Because honestly, he looked like he got the ball, looked at his outside and went, oh, where is everyone? I thought I had the momentum. The boys are trying to get back on side. Didn't look outside of him and the boys were way too deep. But my whole thoughts on that overall is I think Tamaiti is good. Like, he's a good player. I don't think he's incredible. I don't think he'll ever be a player that probably jumps Metcalf currently right now. Just seeing what we've seen currently right now in front of us, I do believe we are missing Metcalf a little bit. Yep. And I think this is actually becoming more of a thing now. Like, Tamaiti had a great game in that Rabbits game where we looked at it and went, maybe he could be the foil to SJ that has a bit more of the Luai look. More we're seeing now that maybe that was just a really soft track. He had a lot of really good moments, and now it's sort of looking like he's not getting himself in those positions to really take over a game in that. My overarching view on Chanel Harris-Tavita, Tamaiti Martin, and Metcalf overall, because Metcalf's currently injured, I think these boys are just holding out the place till Metcalf gets back. And overall, I don't think that if we're going to run Tamaiti or Chanel, we're going to improve that left side in attack overall. Yeah. I really don't. I don't think that those are the key to improve that left side attack. I think you're probably right. It probably comes down to our system and using maybe a bit more flatter lines, stuff like that on the edge, because the best part about Tamaiti Martin and Chanel Harris-Tavita is defensively, they'll hold down that edge very, very well.
Yep.
But like, we're not looking from our six currently right now, because currently our left side's actually really good defensively, if we've seen from the last couple of games. Our right side's the one getting found out. I don't think he's a problem area at all in that. It's only on the attacking end where we're seeing it. And I think the only way we're going to fix that side overall is when we get Metcalf back in there, because I feel like our whole system right now, if you look at the lines that Tamaiti Martin is running, if you look at everything that's coming off the back of him, everything looks like it's been ready and made for Metcalf playing in that position. And they're having a suitor in there currently until Metcalf gets back. And our preferred look is SJ and Metcalf. And I know that doesn't sound positive for a lot of people, thinking that maybe we're going to adapt around Tamaiti Martin and that. But if you actually think of it for a future, and when Metcalf gets back, if we have a full game plan revolutionized around Tamaiti Martin, what does that mean for Metcalf when he comes back into that lineup? If we do push him back into that lineup, we're going to have to redo our looks again on that left edge, get combinations all back there again. If we drop Tamaiti now and put Chanel Harris-Tavita, guess what we're doing? We're changing a combination all over again on that left edge that is trying to find a combination overall. So it doesn't answer the problem at all to me. And I think Chanel's best asset currently right now is his versatility. And I think we've seen that for the start of the season, that Webby trusts him and being on the bench to fill gap on if anything goes wrong. If a centre goes down, he'll go out there. If Dill Walker's not there in the first place or anything like that. So that's my thoughts overall, is everyone's just holding a place there currently right now till Metcalf gets back off injury. And that's scary for a little bit because Metcalf's not back till later on in the season, but that's where my thoughts are overall.
And I agree with you. I think they can just do little minor tweaks to help open that left channel up. If you look at the first try we scored, and it's true, like I suppose the Penrith model is kind of similar. I haven't done too much of a deep dive, but the fullback on the right side, how we use CNK as a link player.
Yep.
And that first try is a great example of why couldn't we do that similarly off the left post? Egan to Barnett, attract that. And if you get a short side that it's a little bit short, and use Sean to key off and use Tamaiti as that kind of what CNK is doing on the left side.
Exactly.
There's options. I just think I'm hoping over time, not major tweaks, but little things to open up the game and make it a little bit easier for him. Similar to what CNK. That's not a hard read for CNK. He saw Khan Pereira goes for Berry. I'm just going to go shoot into the. I'm going to score a try. You know what I mean? A few more of those types of things, which is very Metcalfy, if you think about it.
Yep.
Give those options for Tamaiti, but definitely on the short side, if like you said, if he overcalls it, those guys need to be ready. Got to be ready to go, man. No tackles off, no matter what.
No.
Be up on him. Give him options at the line. Let him play short or let him play cut out.
Yep.
I'm just thinking. I totally agree about Metcalf, and I see it now. This is really geared towards Metcalf, but we're going to be without Metcalf potentially for another couple months.
Oh, it's for ages, bro.
Yeah, so we just got to find some little tweaks. Nothing over the top, and if it doesn't go, at least we tried.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like people were saying all the time, we just can't repeat the same thing over and over again. Well, don't change the whole system. I think like we all both agreed the system's quite good.
The system's great. Yeah.
We just need little tweaks, like the try to AFB at against Canberra, like things like that.
Yeah, I think people we have that in our repertoire, and like my whole argument about like overall, because I understand everyone's thoughts are like they want their left side humming and that, but when I start hearing that our attack's predictable, it's predictable when we go right at the moment because we've thrown up that right look that many times. Where we're unpredictable is through the middle, and that's a lot of the times we're lacking currently at the moment too. Is that Titans game where they we scored most of our tries off AFB in the middle off those short balls, either off Walker or Tohu and that. That's unpredictability. If we can attack from the middle and the right, that's going to open up a lot of our game. That left side just needs to be there if it's going to be short side cover and stuff like that. I'd love to see us obviously run through the hands left side. If you want a perfect world of a football side, like that would be perfect, right? But currently right now, from everything I've seen, it looks like that left side's mainly there for getting out of our back ends and, doing a lot of defensive work if it needs to later on in the game and having those one or two moments that will spot up on teams and stuff. I think Jacko forward going back to that left side may help out Tamaiti a little bit more again. I know, combination-wise, I think running into this weekend of, Dylan Lucas is a great little player and all that playing on the edge, but he's actually missed the most tackles out of both their edges there. With Tyson Gamble next to him too. Very emotional type player as well. We can run Jacko on some short lines there and really get that left side humming. And hopefully we get to see a bit more of a look this weekend if there is maybe a little bit of tweaks. I just want to say, don't be surprised if we don't see a lot of our left side attack come to a little bit later on in the season.
Yeah,
and then,
it could be a while.
It could be a little while. And that's the whole thing is I don't think making changes outside of Tamaiti will change anything. I don't think changing Tamaiti will change anything. I think that all definitely comes down to our overall system. And currently right now, it is based around Shawnee to really hold up the game until Metcalf comes back. And I feel like, we saw it early on in the season, Metcalf had the confidence to overcall Shawnee and run short sides and stuff like that. We don't have that currently right now. So we're in a very weird predicament, but it will change hopefully. And I saw a really good comment earlier on is, it happened very similar things last year, the start of last year, where Tamaiti went down with that breaking his leg. Before that, our left side looked really, really good before that. So maybe there is a chance that will free up a little bit later and we run back some old tape and see what really worked for Tamaiti back in when we had him earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there is spots there where it can work.
I think the big thing about Tamaiti, my concern is just confidence. Make a decision and do it with full belief.
Yeah.
Like there's so many like average 5'8" in the NRL, but they just over exude confidence and they kind of like at least present themselves as like a threat, but really not. I like a guy like I think is it Tyson Gamble? Was it the guy at the Knights?
Yep.
He's not. I don't. He's probably pretty good, but he just like wants the ball. You know what I mean?
He does.
But he's not really like.
He's not out as well type.
But
of
he's just
player.
He's presenting himself confidently to make you want to. But I think just Tom Hardy might need a bit of that, like just a bit more like belief, in himself.
Yep.
And his outside, just like fake it till you make it a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Well, surprisingly, Gamble actually came from around here. He actually played for Albany Creek and stuff, which is not too far away from where I played. Like I played for Narangba in my under-20s years and stuff like that. He was playing for Albany Creek. And one of my boys is actually used to play with him at Redcliffe and reckons that he got there off of that, bro. Honestly, it was off of his effort, his hard work, and always wanting the ball. Like he's never been a guy that had a massive eye for the game or anything like that. And you can see that in his game for sure. But like his effort gets him over the edge, and maybe Tamate is lacking off a little bit in that area too. But again, I think the system doesn't really play in his hands as well. So it's a little bit of balance. Like he needs to find that a little bit, and I think our boys do need to help him around running really hard lines, give him options on that side. Those little things.
Yeah, and this is a good comment by how's the team supposed to get confidence? I mean, FJ's overruling his calls.
Exactly, that's another thing.
That's true, and the good point is Metcalf had a whole preseason to work and build the trust with SJ. There's a little video about Willie Mason did about ball playing locks. If you can tell, Tohu in that is a lot of first option a lot of the time.
Yeah,
and that's what we're trying to do offensively. We're trying to unlock those tries for AFB through the middle.
Yep.
So he's almost third or fourth option.
Yeah.
And I know that's a genuine thing, like Ash has been saying it, but I just when he does get it, we just want him to make the most of it, I suppose.
I feel you, bro. Yeah, I feel you, and I'm starting to come around to that a little bit more now. Obviously, I do want to see, as everyone else is, I want to see that left side humming because we got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck there, and obviously, as all Warriors fans, we want to see the best out of Rog. But Roger's still doing amazing things for what he's got, out of his back end. He's all the works there and stuff like that. But just that left side, there's a lot of things going into place there. There's a lot of our system right now is very SJ centric, and that's not bad. Like there's a lot of teams at the moment that are very one player reliant half wise. Like, Nico Hines over to Sharkies currently with Trindle going down. He just ran a whole game of the weekend where, Anderson or is it Daniel Anderson? Atkinson, the six that he played with, barely was, getting any moments in that. He had a little bit of moments, but it was all Nico Hines, When Nathan Cleary gets into, a mold, he can take over a game, play both sides of the ruck and stuff like that. And the six got to play off the back of that. Tamade, for me, seems like he's a bit more of a halfback and wants to get the ball in his hands early off of ruck and play with an edge back rower. And we've seen that obviously with the video and the tape and stuff like that. Even when he gets his out of, from a halfback edge, he likes to still run with the edge back rower. That to me is a half look. I've always seen that as a half look where we've gone back to Metcalf loves to be, the 3-on-2 look and stuff like that. So these are tweaks that need to happen with our game plan. And I'm sure Webby's noting them down over time. But I think, again, the biggest key that I want to swing all the way back to is just get our defense in order because we can't play a great attacking football if we can, but you don't want to have 30 for 30 scores and that's not how we're going to win games. Like, especially with the system we're trying to run right now.
Yeah. And I agree. It's interesting. I don't know if the stats on it, but the left side over the right side defense, obviously the right side's leaking way more at the moment, but that left side D is holding up pretty well.
Yeah, pretty well overall. I think even let me check on. I've got this.
I mean, that's a plus. That's a positive for me.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not doing anything on attack and you're getting leaked, like 3 or 4 tries, it's like, bro, blow it up. But defensively, I think they're majority sound.
It's actually holding up 50-50 currently right now.
Okay.
I'm feeling on my averages right now is a lot of our tries that we're leaking currently is on our right side. Coming off last week with the Titans, then coming off the Dragons game, they spot up on Shawnee with Jaden Sewer and all that. And where, we've had Tamade on that side. I felt like defensively we held in very nicely on that side. But our middle actually doesn't leak really at all. Like that's a really good sign as well. It's just we need to get our edges in order. That's all.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think Catewell coming back. What was it? Was it HIA or was it still the
No.
ribs?
Apparently it was a throat injury, bro, but there wasn't really much talk around it. So there's a lot of jokes
Who's been
going
putting out
around,
the
bro.
elbows? Who's been putting the elbows in that training, man? The old high knees and the old ong bucks. The
Not
Nas
that Muay Thai training.
Nas come for a little training session from Melbourne.
Did they call over Latrell over for a training session? Oh, not the Rabbitohs ones.
He said, "Sorry, bro, I've been kicked out of the Rabbitohs. Can I come train with you guys?
Yeah.
I give you elbows to the throat as well while I'm here."
Yeah, Shawnee's like, I need to learn how to defend those, bro. But he threw one on Catewell. He didn't know how to defend it too well, so he had it for a week.
No, good stuff. Yeah, do we expect him? He'll be okay. And I mean, it goes back to two back rowers that can play 80 minutes. That should that should support your middles to have a bit more of a break.
Yeah.
We might see a bit more of a balanced bench rotation. You know, you've had Barnett move to an edge a couple times. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
I would say that we're still probably waiting for Catewell to have his not breakout performance, but like a very a performance where we're all going like, this is why we brought him to the club. Like he does all the little things in the game, and 100%. That's what I love about Catewell in that. But still, the connection with Shawnee still hasn't grown completely there yet, and stuff like that. Defensively, the Dragons game wasn't his best game overall. He still misses a bit of tackles and stuff, but the one thing he will do is he's good foot speed on that edge too. So maybe he can push Shawnee out earlier. So we're not having those looks of like, Rocco trying to cover the inside and the outside and having those grass cutting tackles that he doesn't get rewarded for as much as what we hope for. Especially in the new day of rugby league and stuff like that. So I think he helps a little bit. I want to more so see it now too of like that right edge, get Catewell back, and hopefully that becomes a very, he stops the leaking of those points overall. But for me, I still have slight questions right now over Catewell that I didn't really see very early on in the season, and I'm hoping that I'm a little bit wrong.
Wow. What were those questions, bro?
I'm hoping that, so his missed tackle rate is still fairly high. He's always been a player that does miss a ton of tackles and stuff like that. But that Dragons game had me a little bit worried that the Dragons were spotting up on him and Shawnee as much as they could, because he is a little bit of a smaller body comparatively. And we have pointed out recently now, after seeing those tapes, that maybe Murata was really good there for that reason, being the hitman next to Shawnee. Tony Carroll was back in the day of like Darren Lockyer, that people hated attacking that edge because Tony Carroll would take those guys out. Having Catewell there, he's not going to do that. He's going to be a hard worker. He's going to try and cover all those pieces and that, but he's not going to deter people from going down that edge. And that's a big thing that worries me a little bit currently, especially with that edge. When it goes outside of that edge back row, Shawnee, Berry, and Dallin, when we play on the outside, that's when our system breaks down. That's when Dallin shoots in. That's when those moments pop up. Maybe there's something around that. So hopefully Catewell can shut that down. I just want to see it now. That's the biggest thing. I saw little bits to start the season and that, but we had a little bit of a lull there now. So I'm praying more so that he's going to fix up a lot of his wrongs and stuff. He's experienced. He's been to the big games. Just need him to be okay. And I want to also see, in attacking wise, a little kick in behind, like I said, to start the season, and him scoring a try off the kick. That's what I want to see. I want to see that, Catewell. Give that to me.
Yeah. This is a good one too by C. Tally. Welcome to C. Tally for the first time. I haven't seen him. But yes, repeated kicking for Berry on fifth tires him out, and you can't defend efficiently. There is a little bit of value to that, because what teams have been doing is they've been, if you see a lot of our build up at times, is if you think of a set, how we build it up, right? You'll get a kick to Montoya, who'll take it up. You might get Dallin on the second one. You might get Berry or RTS, one of those. And then they might play in the middle for a little bit. And then the kick will be down the right side to that left winger. But then I've noticed teams have been attacking straight back onto that right side. And you've been seeing the long range tries a little bit. And that's where I think when those guys are working a lot, the Catewells and the Fords, and then getting, they're straight back into work away. It's not going down Ford's side, and RTS, they're not getting any work from, and so they're just really hammering Sean and Catewell and Berry. And Berry's doing good work, and then sometimes you're going to get, because of the, Dallin's just going to jam. There's going to be a lot of that. So I think there's some validity to that. That's the other option that Metcalf gave you, is that you had a left, or even CHT at times. You can build your defensive set from the other side, give Sean a bit of a break. give them a breather. At the moment, everything's just in that half of the field, that side of the field. I think there's something to that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, there possibly is a little bit. I would also, my devil's advocate to that be, there's a ton of teams in the competition right now that have a very one-person kicking game that just solely focuses the game around them, and they don't get tired on defensively. And I think maybe that's onto Shawnee's obviously not getting a lot of time training with the squad currently right now. That worries me a little bit more too. Whether these injuries hampering his fitness currently right now as well. Whether that's becoming an issue to where he's not getting out on defenses earlier. All those little things, you know what I mean? I don't want to put it down to one little thing on our game plan, as in kicking on fifth tackle to the burying aside, because honestly, like, I don't think that's where it falls apart. I think there's an overarching issue of maybe there's something more with SJ's fitness-wise, or, you know, that Achilles injury that maybe could be hampering him being the one sole player in that whole offensive system, if that makes sense.
Great point. Shout out Maiva saying, can Marata control his gout so he can play? Yeah, it's been a bit embarrassing if it came up on the injury list. Marata gout out for 7 weeks.
Gout's a killer, boys.
It is a killer, boy. So be careful out there. But yeah, okay. I think that's some good discussion about the team list.
I want to touch on too, right? Because this will open up a whole other can of worms as well. What's your thoughts on, because I got my answers to this question. If I ask you, why do we preferably put a bomb up in the corner and no one contests currently? I think we've answered this currently right now, but I want to give your, what's your opinion? Why aren't we contesting as much on the kicks this season?
Well, we've talked about the defensive one, reasonings, why we want to build our defense. Tanya makes a good point about the disruptor.
I think that's a big thing that's going around with the league at the moment. If you watch all the games over the weekend, tell me how many people properly contest on kicks these days. That Parramatta Manly game was a big one on it. If you watch that game, a lot of teams are getting into those same systems of where they have a kick back in those sides, ends and that. No one's going up for kicks as much as they want to. But there is an option there. We've seen with our last 15 minutes against the Titans, most of our big options that got tries pulled back were off us contesting our kicks. But is that disruptor rule really hampering that?
It's the long range kick, the long range bong on the fifth tackle. The crossfield one's fine, because you can see where the ball is, and you
get a proper contest on it. Yeah,
you get a proper contest because you're seeing the ball come in laterally, and you can. Whereas the main ones from out of yardage, they're so far behind you, you can't really judge exactly where it's landing.
Exactly.
I think that's why. And there is, bro, if they must have got the call from preseason or whatever it is that they're adding in the disruptor.
It's the worst rule, bro.
It's the worst rule because I actually like that. I like faking it and then they knock it on.
Too.
I don't mind that, eh?
What about effort in the game, bro? What about the effort of we would have one of the most damaging
put the Stevie Wonders on them, man. Put the glasses on them like it's there, and then just jump over.
Could you imagine the amount of errors we could have forced in this competition with Barry and Catewell getting up on kickers and jumping up and just swiping? You know what I mean?
Air above you.
They're taking away our best threat. You know what I mean? What's going on? Maybe the game plan was revolved around that, and then the disruptor rule came in, and we were like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to us?
Yeah, bro. Nah, it is. But honestly,
a big thing.
Put the have a pair of glasses or some tape and just slap it on the eyes. Bro. That would be awesome, man. You start seeing these guys with Velcro tapes, and they're just like on their sides, and as they go up, they slap the face. Oh, man.
I just know growing up, bro, being playing in the back line growing up, the part of the skill of catching the ball when a kick goes up is that you're having defenders rushing up on you and doing whatever they can to put you off the ball.
That's one of the toughest jobs in the world. Yeah, and the best at it.
Yeah.
That's why you praise them, because they can do that. Yeah.
And that's the thing in Detroit. You got a good point there. I think the rule only came up due to this incident, but I totally understand if you're going to take out the catcher.
Yeah, 100%. If you take their legs out, yeah, absolutely.
But the whole thing of when players go up and have a fake swipe or a fake go at the ball and they come back down, they don't want to touch the other player. That gets called as the disruptor rule, and I don't like that. That Plus, we didn't get that call against us too with Chanel earlier on in the year with the Raiders and stuff like that. Where was that disruptor rule?
Yeah. Hey, Bob. Sorry, was that a bit too loud for you, brother? I'll turn it down a little bit. No, I appreciate it. But yes, Yeah, I honestly feel it's like just really some of these rules, like the dropout. What's your thoughts on the dropout?
Yeah, it's I never like I like the risk and reward of the short dropout of if you get it wrong, the penalty in front.
Yeah.
And like I think that there's no issue now to just go up for it unless you do what Roger did. Remember a couple of weeks back, which was a little bit of a brain exposure for Roger, being out of the game for a little bit and stuff. Yeah, I didn't like that rule. As soon as that came in, we all saw that what was going to happen. It was just going to be short dropout central, and you can't build pressure on teams like that. Like we're losing a quality of the game of building pressure and effort plays, and those are two big pillars of rugby league. And from everything I've known, those two things are so vital to some of the best defensive teams in the competition. You take that away, like it's pretty much a free for all. You got teams like the Broncos that can throw things willy nilly. If you can't hold them on their line and like, put back to back pressure on them and stuff like that, like teams like that are just going to blow teams out of the water that have attacking threats left, right, and center. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I think the other thing is like they're taking out so many variables to the game. Like they're making it even more predictable to a game. Generally is quite predictable in how it's structured.
Yep.
I just feel like, man, you're taking the more risk reward you can get, the better for the product.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they're doing a lot of these things that are taking away. Like it's courageous to take a ball and someone swipes to the air above you.
100%.
That's it's courageous to take a dropout when you can give away a penalty. Like that's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah. Plus, reward the people that get down there and even get an opportunity to get in front of an attacker and really take the ball off them and stuff like that. Like, reward those people because those are the people you lose out of the game. You know what I mean? Like, that's the biggest thing. It's like we want effort players. We bought Kurt Catewell because of that sole reason. He's an effort player that gets down the end of the field. We got Rocco Berry. They get down the field. They get in their faces. If they can't go up and try and contest the kick without getting called for disruptor and stuff like that, or like, fake out a kicker or something like that, like, you're going to lose players like that or little plays like that out of the game, which to me makes a more valuable game of effort and pressure. Like we need that in football. Yeah,
we need it, man. And big up Jazz is saying here, look, if everyone hits the like button, we'll definitely be hitting the nuts. Thank you, Jazz, as always.
Thank you, Jazzy.
I appreciate you. And Detroit's saying, imagine if they get rid of the kickoff. Imagine losing the first setup in the origin, and you're losing. We need more variables in our game. I've even talked about. I would love to see if you do a chip and chase from your own half, you get rewarded with like a 6 game. Something I don't know, just things to kind of give you more options. Yeah. But there's just some random.
The rule I most likely dislike, and this kind of goes against everything I was saying, because I honestly didn't think we had a rule problem to start the season. If we take out the disruptor and all that, like I did everything else, I was like, it's fine. The one I dislike the most is when players get overzealous attacking on an edge and a defensive player lowers their level and they go to put a hit on, and the attacking player passes the ball, and it's sort of like in touch football. If you touch it or whatever, it ends up being a turnover and stuff like that. Like if it touches the defensive player and it goes out, or it's a knockout against the defensive player and not just an error of the attacking player of trying to go deep into the line and playing a late pass that wasn't there. I hate that. I hate seeing that, because I feel like defensive teams, they get up there, get into attacking teams' faces and force an error like that should deserve to get the ball back off that. That's the only thing I had against the game. Other than that, other than probably like video ref, but that's a whole different argument in my end. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, and I'm probably similar things for me has put me off. Like even NBA at times, it's just almost they've gone so offense driven. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
That players get better and obviously improve, but it's so geared towards offense these days, and that's where I worry with rugby league is that. And like Detroit was saying in the comments, like it just focuses too much on entertainment and loses like what the core values of the game are. Like you said, it's about courage. Taking that head up off the back fence. That's no one else can do that except you guys at a professional level, and that's why we watch you and we celebrate you. Yeah, and we revere these guys because they're putting their bodies on the line for us to be entertained. So
yeah.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Like it would be a worse of a product if we're seeing short kickoffs now because of the kickoff rule. Like, let's say we can't kick off over a certain distance, they can't return it over a certain distance. Now you're going to lose the field position battle. You know what I mean? Like,
next minute we'll be taking knees in the end zone, like, and we'll be doing what's it going at the 20-meter line.
What happened to a game that has, a little bit of the chess value to it? I move my PCR, you move your PCR. We take that away out of the game. It's just all attack. Like, I don't love that part of it.
Oh, wow. Breaking news. Detroit's saying that the Rabbits coach, JD, finally got the sack. Did he?
Did he finally get it?
Wow. Okay.
That's hectic. Trying to look into it now.
Yeah. Ash will have a look at that one. But yeah, guys, we've got 93 of you in here, 55 on YouTube. If you are here for the first time, give us a like and subscribe. Same on Ash Thomas TV. Give him a like and subscribe, guys. And again, a little reminder, tomorrow night, Ash is doing Around the League with Ash. So be ready for that stream, guys. NRL focus, Punters Paradise. Bring your apps ready to put in the TAB. Get your tips ready. Awesome stuff. Just be ready for that stream tomorrow night as well.
It is true, bro. It is true. Yeah, Jason DeVitro has just been sacked. So I'll touch on that a little bit more tomorrow too.
Coming from tomorrow for that one, there'll be a good breakdown there.
Yeah.
Ash will touch on that. Let's get into a combined 17. Great people, great corridor in the chat, people. We appreciate it.
Love
everyone that's still around on Instagram. Thank you. It sucks that we can't get you guys to over here in your comments, but we appreciate you listening in if you are there. We do appreciate that. Okay, so no special guests this week, so I suppose me and you battling it off, but and obviously my man Ash with the knowledge on a lot of these guys. But I suppose the interesting thing is we have seen these guys previously, almost 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah. So
I've got a decent read on them, but yeah, let's break it down and see what we think. Yep. Now at fullback, David Armstrong versus CNK, and I saw a little bit of David Armstrong. You got a bit of a debut try.
Yep.
On the weekend, looks pretty good.
Yeah, he looks solid, bro.
For me personally, though, I'll be going with Chance in this situation.
I'll back you in there, bro. We're going with Chance, but little overview on like David Armstrong. He's out of all the fullbacks that they've got currently coming through the Newcastle system currently. They got this other guy, Fletcher Sharp, that has a lot of raps over him. If you watch people like Rugby League Guru, The Short Ball, a lot of those content creators online and stuff like that, they have massive raps on both these boys, but Fletcher Sharp looks like Papenhausen, plays like Papenhausen. This guy's good. He played wing in the trials. Really solid finisher, that sort of thing. Has a couple of errors in his game still. He's a young kid. Like, this will happen. That's what it is. But we got to go Chancey here because of the experience. He gets through the work. Like, Armstrong's still young, learning the game, but definitely got a future for sure.
Yeah, definitely Chancey there. Okay, let's go. I think Marju's on the left.
Yep.
Versus Montoya. Where are you at, bro, with these two?
Both of these have very similar deficiencies in defensive reads, which is, obviously a lot of it does come from the inside, but also they can have the brain explosion of darting in and stuff. Marju's slowly getting rid of that out of his game as well. If we're going attack for attack, both of them do a lot of great work out of their back end, but I would sway the way of Greg Marju. Bigger body, tackle break ability, and he's always had big, good games against the Warriors. Back when he was at the Titans, he tore us apart a couple of years back, the COVID years. I think he had some crazy number of tackle breaks in a game, 3 tries. He's that type of guy. So I'm going to go Greggy Marju. He's just, a very solid body. I've been watching him for years, ever since he was in under 20s for the Parramatta Eels and that. He went under a different name. He's now Greg Marju and still is a freak.
What was his name back then?
Bro, don't even ask me to pronounce it, man. It was so long, bro. It was like Greg Leleziano or something like that. Yeah.
He's just shortened it.
Yeah, bro. It's so nice, too.
Balangi,
man, of course.
And Maiva, I think we're not doing matchups, just so you know. We're doing the best in that position. So I saw some of you guys still in the chat. Yeah, we do it a little bit differently. Where we choose the best left center, best right winger, etc. Yeah, I'm just Montoya for me isn't, and I think that there needs to be a conversation maybe down the line a little bit about where he sits in terms of moving forward. But won't get into that today. But I just think Marju is a much better impactful winger. He can score tries. He's fast with his feet. Strong. I'll definitely take a Greg Marju myself as well.
Before we move on to it, bro, because what are the positives in your opinion, to Marcelo Montoya?
I think he's good in his carries. For me, he's good. When he's on defensively, in terms of his hitting, his tackling is strong. Kick defusal is hit and miss. It's really the work rate, eh? It's work rate from out of yardage for me. Yeah. Like, the majority of his hit ups are quite good. Yeah. That's how I value him.
I would completely agree. I think that's the main key. The positive to Marcelo is his work rate out of the back end and his effort. For me, he's a player that's never swayed away of showing no effort. He's always showed 100% effort, and always falters him in some areas as well. I've always felt like a lot of his errors, a lot of his moments come off the back of him trying so hard to be the one to change things, where he's got to believe in himself and the system and that. But I 100% agree. The best thing about Marcelo Montoya and what changes him to a lot of other boys as well, like, that we have in the system, is his work rate out of the back end is like, somewhat top class, like comparatively, wingers in a competition right now. So I think they're the biggest positives out of him. The only drawback that we ever have to Marcelo Montoya is those costly errors at moments and the defensive reads. But for me, that always comes down to him trying too hard. If he was to tone that back a little bit, I honestly do believe he's a great winger. And we don't use him enough to be like, he's had moments last year. Remember, we had that left side humming in moments last year where he looked solid. We put him into that center role and he looked really, really good too. So I just want to shout out the positives to Monty as well. Like, just to show out, like, to round it out as well, of like, I don't want people to get on the whole thing of Monty needs to be out and all that. But the work out of his back end is the best thing about Montoya comparatively out of everyone that we got currently right now. But
no, it is. Yeah. It is. No. And the name was Gregory Lelesio.
There you go.
Far out. That is tricky.
It's a tricky one.
Gregory Lelesio. Yeah, Greg Marju sounds good.
We'll stick with Greg
all
Marju.
Of my Samoan and Polynesian brothers. I'm poor with the I do speak Te Reo, but some of the pronunciations of the other ones is tricky. But Kapai. Let's go to right wing. So Tuala versus Dallin. I'm just gonna go off the top here. I mean, I haven't watched Tuala recently, but he had a massive game against us. When we played at home. Dallin isn't hitting the right side attack. I think has been locked down a little bit. He isn't seeing the same volume of. I mean, he's still great finisher. Example with Dragons when he gets an opportunity. He isn't getting those opportunities as much as he was last year. Tuala, I'm going to just go on a limb here and trust that I think Tuala is going better than him at the moment. I'll be interested to see what you're saying.
I'm a bit 50-50. Like, Tuala is the safer winger. He had a great game against us, and like, not taking that away from him. But from everything I've known of Tuala, he's never been like, he's had that amazing breakout game and all that against the Warriors and that, but he's never been usually that type of player. He's just a solid player that gets through his work. Good defender, like a really good defensive winger. Plays a lot of the center or wing. Back in the day, I was a lot higher on him than what I am currently. He's definitely coming back into form now when he's come back into grade and stuff. But out of the two, like, Dallin's finishing ability eats him up all day. No matter, like, Dallin's finishing ability, I think, is up there with like some of the best wingers in the competition when he gets a chance. Dallin's back end work is still very underrated. Like, he'll get you about 130, 140 in the game and stuff like that. The biggest thing on Dall's holding him back currently right now is his defensive reads, and Tuala definitely beats him out on that. But out of those two currently right now, I'm swaying away at Dall. I still believe Dall's in the conversation of like, top 10, 15 winger in the competition, in my opinion.
Yep.
And slowly moving in that top 10 range or whatever. It just needs to start key in on those errors. And, the same thing with Monty. He tries too hard. In moments, as we saw in that Titans game, he saw the momentum shifting, wants to throw the offload to help out the boys. Don't do that. Just hold on to the ball, get down, do the hard yards, because he's good at doing that. He runs hard.
Yeah.
His errors come off the back of trying too hard. Both our wingers at the moment, because the boys are in bad form, are trying too hard to change the contest. That's the biggest thing.
Yep. Oh, we'll leave it there. I think that's good counter arguments to both sides. So I suppose you read it how you want.
Yeah.
Look, let's get into this left center battle. Is it Bradman Best? Is he on the left or is he right?
Yep, he's on the left.
Versus Roger. For me, I just think it's Bradman.
Yeah.
Currently and just even if he isn't having a great season, he's got way more experience than Rog does.
Yep.
I think we're always gonna have to wait until if things change, they change, but he's at left center for now. But we need to see a bit more getting him some better opportunities. But at the same time, like if you said Tamati calls hot and you're not ready, we need you to get your combinations and all that. But overall, I think Rogers' yardage, like his metrics are still great. He's still giving us everything in terms of what he's good at.
Yep.
What he's been effective at. But yeah, I'm definitely going for Bradman Best in this situation.
I think this is controversial. I think this is close. I think this is very close. Like, I think Bradman Best probably just pips him because he's been probably, obviously he's played center for his whole career. He's been around that. Obviously, I reckon he has the game of the outside game a lot better than what that RTS has currently right now of like, the getting on the outside of your opposite center, setting up your winger. We haven't seen a lot of that of RTS currently right now. If we're going on work rate, RTS works him off the park. Like out of the back end, gets through the hard yards. Bradnam does really good work out of his back end and stuff, but Dell is so underrated in that sort of aspect of being a center and helping with that. Our back five, the amount of work they do to get us out of the back end is like underrated. That's where I would sway the way of Rog because Rogers' work rate is higher. Bradnam can be stagnant of just sitting on an edge and just sit there and waiting for the ball, sort of like a Katoni Staggs. But when he gets the ball, he is a lot more of the experienced center and makes things happen a lot more than probably what Rog does currently right now. So currently, if he wanted us early on the season, I would have said Rog. Right now, I'm going to go Bradnam. But I think Roger's ceiling is still a little like I still believe Roger can be a great center. I'll still stick on that. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I'll go Bradnam.
Yep, going Bradman for me as well. And catch a smoke. Sorry for that, but yeah, it's all good to have for you RTS over Best. That's no problem.
I think we both agree. It's close. It's close.
And out here balling saying Roger versus Gags, bro. We just do a little bit different. We choose the best in that position. Yeah. So it's not we're not really doing versus matchups. But just so you know, in case you're saying, "Oh, these guys they're doing it wrong," we're doing it just who's the best in that position, left center, left wing, all that type of thing.
Yeah.
But appreciate that. Let's go to right center, Gagai versus Berry.
Yep.
I'll let you talk this one out first.
I'm gonna sway the way of Dane Gagai. I think Dane Gagai, his form has actually been okay when he's been around the Knights this season. It hasn't been out of this world. Like he's had moments last season where he looked amazing. I think he had one of his better seasons, very underrated season last season. It didn't make Origin and stuff like that. But Gagai's been around the traps. He's done the thing. Like he's incredible at like his balance is on a different level. You notice it this weekend. Obviously, we didn't get to play him last time we played the Knights.
Yeah, he was out. He was out.
So that's going to be a really good battle. I'm hoping Rocco, because one thing Gagai is really good at doing is that stutter step, getting on the outside. Very similar to what Brian Kelly did against Rocco. And if Rocco needs to be on his game and needs to trust that Shawnee's got the inside covered and he needs to go those one-on-one battles with Dane Gagai. But out of the two, Dane Gagai currently right now is the better center. And it's not taking anything away from Barry. I think Barry's potential is going to be some incredible like centre that we've seen. Like, you know, we all believe that he's going to be incredible, but at the moment, Gagai.
Gage, yep, I'm with you. Oh, I think yes, the experience and what he's doing. Forget if he was a guy. If we could have gotten him, would have been great, and to help out. But yeah, I'm with you there.
Love it.
Okay, we're going for best halves. So it doesn't matter if they're 5'8" or halfback.
Yep.
But the best of those halves. I'm gonna go first on this one. I think it definitely Sean.
Yeah, Shawnee is. Yeah.
Now I've heard has Jackson Hastings been coming in and out of the squad a bit?
Yeah, that's the part of the merry-go-round. It's Jacko, Tyson, and Cogger. Like 1 week it was Jacko, Cogger. 1 week it was Cogger, Tyson. 1 week it was, you know what I mean. That's the way it's been going.
I'm going to go on a limb here, maybe, and I'm going to go Tyson Gamble.
Okay.
Just like I talked about, their false sense of confidence. This is the guy that just exudes like that thinks he's the man, but I don't know why I'm going for that, but I would like to see like just him kind of overcall Sean, even though he has no right to overcall Sean and just screw things up. But anyway, that's where I'm at, bro. What about you?
I like that. If we're going for me, preferred two that actually would be a good combination, it would still be Sean Tamate. And no matter, like, I believe, like, Tyson likes to be a right side dominant player, all that sort of stuff and that. I got a massive, like, I have big respect for Jackson Hastings. I rate him and the way he plays football and stuff like that. What Jackson does so well, and you'll notice it in the game, he's so much of a conductor type half. He'll do a lot of his work as the old school halfback of first off the ruck. He'll get his forwards one off the ball, and he'll work those boys that way. If you go on the two best halves overall out of this, I would go Jacko and Shawnee and run Shawnee at a 6. But the older Shawnee gets, the more Shawnee becomes more of a halfback. But if we're going back in the day, bro, why Shawnee back to the old school Shawnee? That would be a devastating combination. Having Shawnee running on the outside of like Jacko's ball and that, Shawnee would be incredible. So they're my two then. I'll go Jacko and Shawnee.
Yes, yeah. For me too, Jacko, yeah. I kind of agree with you. Yeah, Jackson is a better, but I just thought I'd throw in the argument for Gamble. The guy with the overconfident. But hey, good shout by Cole. Can you guys post your content on Spotify, boys, so we can listen on the way to work? We need to work on that, Ash.
Yeah, that'd be cool, bro.
Let's think about that. I've had troubles kind of figuring that out.
Yep.
But we can do that definitely. Yep.
Yeah, I love that idea, man. I reckon that'll be awesome. I can listen to it back while I'm at work.
Yeah. And your boss comes up behind you. Hey, put your headphones out, man. What are you doing?
I'll put the headphones on him and be like, check out our channel, bro.
See, that's Tyson Gamble confidence right there. I love it. Even when you're in the wrong.
You always find the right.
Yeah. Look, let's be honest. That is probably the first backline where we've gone 50-50 or a little bit swayed to them.
Shows a little bit of where we're at currently right now.
It shows where we're at a little bit. We probably our confidence was naturally high. And maybe guys have dipped a little bit. But yeah, it's interesting that battle was, we had to be honest and say that a lot of they did win a lot of those battles. Get interesting here now. We're going to forwards. Saifiti versus Fanul Blake. I feel like that's just a waste of time. That
you know where we're going here, bro.
Yeah. Let's just move on because. But
I'll touch on the Saifiti boys a little bit later on. But was it with the matchup obviously overall? Yeah, we're going to Adam Fanul Blake. I think Saifiti's what they struggle with currently right now, and one of them I can't remember is it Daniel or Jacob that might be hampered by injury coming into this game as well. Whether he's going to be a late withdrawal, that's still up in the air. But they struggle with a lot of their work inside back of the ruck. If they're a defender, they don't cover it back on the inside. They're very slow moving feet laterally in that. Some of our boys struggle with that, but that's especially a point that I hope that we attack in this game because they can get very tired in behind that ruck.
Yeah, and I think that was the game where CHT scored. And it was like the Grim Reaper coming behind him. He smiled a bit too quickly, but that's a good example of like those guys struggle with lateral movement. And Egan had a field day. So, yeah, I'm with you there. Absolutely. Jaden Braley, good to see him kind of get back into the starting squad.
He's been good too.
Yeah, and he's been going well. He's a good player. And this is maybe a good call for Egan versus Brayley. I'll go with you on this one because you'll have a better read on them. What's your thoughts?
I would sway the way of Wade Egan because the only thing I'll have Wade Egan up on currently is his ruck deception. Everything else, Jaden Brayley does an amazing work at, getting his forwards onto the football, getting that ruck speed. He defends well. Both of them have injury troubles, and throughout their whole career, Brayley's have been so much more significant, as in big muscle tears, stuff like that, where Egan always picks up the little ones, the head knocks every so often, he's out for a couple of weeks, or an elbow injury, stuff like that. But as comparatively as players, Wade Egan has a lot more ruck deception. Brayley has that in his game, but he's a lot more of the old school hooker, play off the ground. But still great at getting his forwards on a roll on. So if we don't control him and Jackson in this game, that's the keys for the Knights. That's where we'll fall off a little bit because Jaden Brayley can get a lot of confidence through that ruck. But I'm going Wado.
Yeah, I'll go Wado, but I do have a respect for Brayley.
100%.
Hope he stays healthy. I know he's been really, those ACLs have just been so. It reminds me of Nathaniel when the next ACL almost feels like you're going to medically retire.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Roach. Sorry, I'm talking about people.
100%.
I remember Nathaniel, and great to see him in a photo of Paulie. Just brought a little tear to my eye thinking about Nathaniel, and I loved him as a player. Just such a shame.
What could have been? He was incredible.
He was just that nuggety bodybuilder. He was so raw, his way of style.
Yep.
I love that about him. But yeah. Leo versus Barnett. This is a good little one.
It's a good matchup. Honestly,
I mean, I love Leo obviously from the Kiwis. Had a little watch of his game last week. He looks still hitting his strap, still playing pretty solid.
Yep.
Mitchie B I just got to say for right now, he's just a cut above. Although Leo's playing really well, Mitch is just doing way too much for us and versatility, everything.
Yep.
Bro, he's on. For me, he's on form for Warrior of the Year.
Yeah.
If we're being really honest. But, man, yeah, where do you sit, bro?
I agree with you, bro. And this is not anything away from Leo Thompson because I think Leo Thompson's incredible as well, as you said. A Kiwi front rower and all that sort of stuff and that. And the Knights have missed Leo Thompson. He's only come back, I think, the last couple of weeks back into the lineup. He's had an injury for a little bit there. So, but out of the two, Mitch Barnett, his work, bro, the work he gets through defensively, but also he can punch out his 150 or whatever in attack, his post-contact meters. Every inch of his game is solid and he's strong, and he's just got that mongrel in him that I just absolutely adore in a Warriors player. I agree with you, bro. He's definitely up there for Warrior of the Year currently in the running. I actually checked some tape too. I think there was tape running around on YouTube and that of the players in their preseason and who trained the house down. And I'm pretty sure Tohu, out of all of them, said Mitch Barnett. I think Tohu said Mitch Barnett, which is a big thing. For Tohu to say Mitch Barnett, that's a big one. So everyone else actually said, a lot of them said Jacob Laban. So, Laban apparently trained the house down in that. But yeah, Mitch Barnett, incredible, in track for Warrior of the Year. And hopefully maybe he'll be around an Origin spot as well. Hopefully they don't take him off him and that, but it would be good to see him get his notoriety as well.
Yeah, get a bit of respect.
Yeah.
Put some respect on his name, absolutely. Kai Pierce-Paul versus Jackson Ford. Sheesh, this is a good battle.
Yeah, it is.
Pierce-Paul's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Jacko still solid. Yeah. Where are you sitting on this one?
Yeah, I'd say Pierce-Paul has the higher ceiling potential-wise than that. Yep. I still don't think Pierce-Paul has hit that yet. I think he's doing all the little things right, and he looks incredible, tackle break machine and that. But Jacko gets through a ton more work than him currently, especially defensively and that. But Pierce-Paul, his ceiling's higher for sure. If I was, this is tough. This one is really, really tough because you could look at it as Jacko is vital for being that player that works 10 times harder than probably anyone else on that football field. He'll get through his ton of work and all that sort of stuff. He'll have the 1 or 2 tries and stuff in the game. Pierce-Paul is like a game breaker, especially if he gets to that potential. He can be run off the short ball, break through the line. He's got long, lanky limbs. He's played center before at a lick. He's got that, skill set in him. This one's tough. I'm going to sway away at Jacko because I think Jacko is underrated for the amount of work rate, I'm guessing, he gets through and stuff like that. Like, the amount of work he gets through is actually, like, hectic. He's had one or two off games, which is sure, where Pierce Paul has been pretty sturdy all the way through. But I'll sway the way Jacko just on his work rate. But on potential, Pierce Paul's got more potential, in my opinion, as a, like, breakout player.
Yeah, I agree with those sentiments, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, I still love Jacko's work rate, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a tough one, though, bro.
It's tough, yeah, because Pierce, he's gonna be a threat, man. Definite threat in the future. Capewell versus Dylan Lucas.
Yeah.
Off the top, I'm just gonna go Capewell, but
yep.
Where's Lucas looks like a young guy, kind of coming through the system, or has he been around for a while?
Yeah, he's hit the scene, I think, last year or the end of the year before that. And then, like, you know, he's been good, bro. Like, he's a solid, for me, he's more of an attacking threat than he is a defensive worker. Still is, like, decent in defense, but out of everyone on that back line and that, I can see we can probably spot on him and gamble a lot more than what we can on the other side of Hastings and Kai Pierce-Paul. Like, Kai Pierce-Paul barely misses tackles. Where Lucas, I think he missed 4 or 5 last week, and the week before that about 4 or 5, and he's a bit more of a smaller body. So, you know, Jackson Ford's going to be running on him this weekend. Yeah, that's where I'm starting to see, you know, hopefully we have some good effort there. But I'm going to go Capewell just on experience. He's been and done it in the game. Again, like, what Dylan Lucas is good at is very similar to what Capewell is good at as well, like kick chase, all the little things like that. Lucas probably a better line, or it's tough because Capewell can run a good line. Lucas scores a lot of his tries of those real short lines and stuff like that. But I'll sway the way of Capewell, in my opinion.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just, based off my knowledge and understanding, I think Capewell, you got to go there. But it'll be exciting to see that Ford versus Lucas, and how we can exploit that. Maybe a try down the left edge we might see, hopefully.
Yeah.
But Adam Elliott versus Tohu Harris. Now I'm going a little bit, not going to be critical of Tohu, but I think he has been, performance-wise, just a little bit down on his standards, should we say.
Yep.
But Adam Elliott, I've seen some of his work, and he's really, really solid. He's a good player, Adam Elliott. But yeah, where do you sit on these two?
Massive fan of Adam Elliott. Like, I have been for a while. Like, when he was at the Doggies, he showed a ton of potential there. Then obviously the indiscretions happened. He moved over to the Raiders, showed his potential at the Raiders. I still think he's trying to find his feet at the Knights. Does a lot of good things in that. But he definitely hasn't gone back to that Raiders form that he was in. That Raiders form, bro, he was incredible for that middle. Like, his work rate's on top. Defensively, he was very, very solid. And, like, his link-up play was a lot better. Like, currently right now, he's still trying to figure out his combinations and stuff on the outside if they want to play that link-up play with Adam Elliott. Tohu, for me, still has it over the top of Adam Elliott. I think Tohu, a lot of his form is coming off the back of the amount of work that he's still getting through. Like, he still gets through the amount of numbers that he gets through. He is the main man, as we touched on before, with our link-up play. You know, sometimes he can get caught looking lazy in moments, but, like, a lot of that has come down to, like, the amount of work he gets through before those moments, if that makes sense. Like, I think Tohu, because of his skill set overall, like, we're talking short balls onto fronties, we're talking, like, out the backs, we're talking dummy and go himself, he'll get up the meters, like, 150 upwards. Like, I'm going Tohu.
And Jazz is saying here, chronic fatigue syndrome Tohu. Have you seen that movie? Is it Emotions, or what is it called on Pixar? And
not the one that's like all the people
controlling emotions. And they control them. He would be one of those emotions that's just walking around just constantly tired, you know, like yawning. Oh, I'm so tired.
He's just pressing the button all the time.
And it just activates him.
He just seems like a cruisy, relaxed character, bro. But he's still hanging. Like, everyone says it, he's hanging on by a thread. Like, he gets through the games by the edge of his teeth, but fuck, he gets through the work, man. I love him for that.
No, we do. But I think with Cole, what's Cole saying, he just needs to, like, kind of just ease off of it. Just while Webby's pushing him right to the end, man.
Hopefully Walker back in another bit of more minutes in his legs will help, like, the rotation there a little bit, because I think he's the one that's probably been hurting a lot. Him, AFB, and Barnett with a lot of our injuries currently. Tohu's been hurting a lot because there's no real proper. Before Dylan Walker, our rotation for our 13 was non-existent, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, we had nothing. Yeah, you're right. You're bang on. Okay, speaking of Dylan Walker and interchange here, best 4 guys. A few options actually.
There is,
and it's going to be a tricky one. Let's see how I build it.
Yep.
I'll start first. For me, Dylan Walker for sure. I do like Phoenix as a player. I'm wondering if he might be more of my CHT, like my utility role. I'll take Phoenix there. Now, sheesh. I'll probably take one of the Saifidi. Yeah, I'll take the Saifidi brother.
Yep.
And with that makeup of the thing, I'll probably take a Tom Ali.
Okay.
Oh no, actually, Saifidi would be. Actually, Saifidi. I'll take Bunty actually. Saifidi can be my impact.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'll take. Anyway, what have you got?
No, I like that. I would. Yeah, I probably will echo what you said. I'd go Crossland as our half hooker cover.
Yeah.
Dylan Walker as our 13 cover, through the middle, or our center cover if anyone goes down overall. I think he's the best piece out of that.
Yeah.
And then I would look at a Bunty and a Daniel Saifidi. I think that's probably the best look for a bench look currently. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Overall, your bench, how do you think they'll go?
Yeah, I think, their strike on their bench currently lately from the last couple of games, like Crossland had a really good game on the weekend against the Dolphins, and you can see the way he changes momentum a little bit now when they're using him off the bench. Brayley will get through a ton of his work. Crossland will actually come on like the inside
out. he'd be that constant tired emotion.
Inside out.
Just struggling to get to events, like he's walking, but he's really struggling to get there.
You hit the nail on the head. But yeah, bro, I think out of all of them, Crossland, he'll come on in that Dylan Walker look, and that's where their foot speed picks up for the middle.
Yeah.
He changed momentum that way. Other than that, Brodie Jones is a heavily defensive type player. He's a really good defensive type player. Everything else is so. Jed Cartwright's been in or out of first grade through the Rabbits and stuff like that. Has potential.
Oh yeah, Jed
never
Cartwright.
hit it.
Yep.
Yeah, usually an
Is that
edge
Cartwright's
player.
son?
I don't. Is it Cartwright's son?
It looks like him a little bit.
You might be on, bro. I've never thought of that. You actually could be on something.
I saw the face. I was like, he kind of looks like Cartwright.
Yeah.
The one that coached that really coached Titans.
Yeah, the
bit.
Titans and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually an okay coach too. But
Cartwright was actually all right. Yeah.
But yeah, bro. Yeah, out of all of it, Daniel Saifidi will be the one they bring on for the middle. That'll be good for their middle and that. But Phoenix Crossland is probably their biggest strike off the bench, in my opinion, at the moment.
Who would you like to see? Just probably down Hetherington versus Mayu. Who would win that fight?
Oh, apparently Hetherington. Have you heard about Hetherington can throw hands? Apparently?
Gus said he threw hands. People that talk a big game are hardly the ones that fight. Massive.
I know, and Zion just seems like that character is just. I reckon he's got a bit about him. So.
Zion would have a bit of a tour in him. I reckon he got a bit of a left hook, a bit of uppercut game. I think Hetherington's all talk, bro.
Lower to the ground and that. The reach would be on Hetherington's side, and that sways me in an amateur fight.
Yeah, true. A bit of a peekaboo style with you could bob and weave. Old Mayu maybe.
If Mayu can get around the jab, bro, I think we're on. Have
you guys got in the chat Hetherington or Mayu for your next fight for Jacko? Some saying Mayu. Yeah, cool. Okay, anyway, guys, let's we'll move on now.
That's pretty balanced, bro.
We're pretty balanced. Yeah. We've done 2 hours, nearly far out. Great stream.
This has been good.
People have been enjoying it. We've still got 85 people in here. Please give us a like, subscribe. You know what to do. Score prediction now.
In
these past few weeks, I've been really, predicting high scores.
I think we all have, bro.
Yeah, we all have.
Yeah.
But man, I far out. I'm my things prediction, I'm really bringing it right back. And I think Knights away. I know people say, "Oh, we should smash a team without Ponga," but it goes back to the engine room. It goes back to the forwards. If we dominate them and we are 13 plus,
I'll be cheering. 100%.
We'll be and we'll be saying a lot about, okay, it was just rest. It was just, but I'm just on the swaying on the other side that we've got a few things to work through.
Yeah.
That it will be more it will be a tight game. I don't know and I just think that, well, I'd love to see a low scoring game, even if we don't score many, because then that tells me the defense, like we've talked about, is improving. Yeah, and even if it is a close game, I would like to see us limit them to less than three tries.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just still feel it's a close game somehow. I don't know why, but I'm going to go for us. I think it's like 1-6, like a 2 to 4 point win. But shivers, if it's a 13 plus, I mean, we'll be having a totally different story here. Yeah. But where are you at, bro? What's your score line?
Yeah, I'm swaying. I had a couple in my mind. Currently, I had preferably, I think I want to limit the Knights, because I honestly I think the Knights had an okay attacking weekend against the Dolphins over the weekend, only scoring 3 tries and stuff. But their attack has now fall back more into very simplistic, get free of work. They're running through the middles more, getting to field position, and then they're trying to attack through Jacko and stuff like that. And it hasn't got that same punch of a Ponga on the edge and stuff. So if my first thought was 18-6, I really do want to try and limit them as much as I can, and hopefully they don't get over a couple of points in that. My second thought is the way our defense is going currently at the moment, it's going to take a little bit of time before we fully switch it around. I don't think we're going to limit them to 1 try. So I'm going to throw up the prediction of around that 20-16 sort of look, 20-12, around that sort of look. I think our last one was 20-10, 20-12.
20-12 yeah.
I think that we can limit them as best as we can, especially if we watch the tape, try to figure out, now they've become more of a Jackson Hastings centric team and a Jaden Brayley centric team, instead of being a put Ponga into a spot. And that helps us more so, the fact of we just got to limit as much, because Jacko will get his hands on the ball as much as he can. You watch that this weekend, he will. He's the conductor. If we shoot up on him and really limit those outside men to limited meters and stuff, especially out of their back end, I think we have a good chance to limit them to 1-2 try apiece. So yeah, 20-16.
Yeah. That's a good, 16. I'm thinking something similar. It's interesting. Yeah, they didn't have Gage last time, so
yeah,
I think Roger will be up for a good battle.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
That'll be a good physical battle, I'd say.
Actually, Gags will be. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
And Frizzell was out, he was damaging too.
He was big for them.
Yeah, but Ponga, it's a totally different style with Ponga. I mean, remember Ponga was killing us with those grubber kicks.
Yep.
And playing the third man, on the out the backs, and we're getting killed down the road. Maybe we don't see less of that, but still Hastings conducting. We just need to be really sharp.
Yep.
But it's I still feel the same as you, bro. It's a close one. But yeah, need to get either way. If we get a little bit of improvement, either way, we need to get a win here. Yeah. I think just for confidence sake, we've had 3 games of just sort of a draw is a draw, and then 2 bad losses. The Dragons one was really poor, but we just got to get away with a win and then just build off of that. And we can sort things as we go, but we just need to build something confidence-wise.
Totally agree, bro. Totally agree. A lot of it does, sport is a lot of it on the field, but also we want the outside noise to be as limited as possible. And the only way to limit that is to win as much as you can from currently now. If we go 3 games now, losing 3 games in a row, which our 4 games we haven't won in 4 games, that doesn't look that great. And the noise will start to pick up and the fans will start to get a lot more negative than what they have been now. And so we need to hold that down, because this could go very south very quickly. But full trust in the boys. Webby's already noted defensively is where they're going to be focusing on. We'll touch on that, obviously with the press conference and all that sort of stuff. But I think that It should be a very strong defensive performance in this one. I hope you guys don't expect a crazy free-flowing attack that's going to be left side, right side. Like, we're going to change all that in a week. It's not going to happen. But defensively, we need to limit these guys as best as we can. And I think our normal game plan, if we run it for a good period of time and don't fall off for that 20-minute before halftime and that sort of stuff, it will shut out the Newcastle Knights. Theoretically, that's what should happen.
Yeah, no, good points. I think Newcastle was always a tricky ground. I mean, last year was we thought we were going to go and dominate, and hey, you just got to be ready and up for these games. I think we'll be up for it.
We have to be.
We have to be. This is a big game in terms of But yeah, guys, appreciate everyone in the chat. I see a few of you guys dropping in your score lines. Appreciate everyone just talking and mingling. Sometimes we're not getting to your comments, but we appreciate you. I think we're going to wrap it up there, guys. It's good 2 hours there. And if we can figure out how to get onto Spotify, we'll try our best. And yeah, you can listen to this again. But we appreciate everyone. Again, my man Ash, thank you very much, my man. Any closing thoughts from you, my friend? Anything else you wanted to touch on before we leave?
No, overall, just, I just want to see a positive performance from the boys this weekend, and then all of us to be happy. Obviously, the end, it's a Sunday game. Hopefully it touches off our weekend with a nice win and we go for our work week or smiling coming into work.
Put your jersey on and your hat.
The hats are sitting at home, but currently right now I want them back on your heads on Monday morning for work. That's all I want.
Very good. Same for me. We just, as a fan base, need a little confidence booster, and we just need to be reassured. And I'm sure we will be that. We are still in contention. We are still the goals are still as high as they are. Guys will sort them out. Webby believes that we just got to trust.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, for me, a win's a win, no matter how you get it. Get the job done. But yes, let's guys. We'll leave it there. Thanks everyone in the chat. One last thing.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Harold Matts, boys?
Oh, amazing, man! Like far out. You just I've talked about this a lot about like them winning the comp will do a lot for
their confidence and
our confidence. But the next year's guys, whoever's been targeted right now and recruited to come into Harold Matts next season, they can look at that product just like the under-20s, bro. When we had that, we were winning comps in the under-20s. That's
our standard there now.
Yeah. And it's telling you, man, you can come and play rugby league, even from a rugby background. I mean, the great thing I love about it is that they got guys from all over the country.
Yeah.
We're breaking that stigma of we're just a South Auckland breeding ground. Like, nah, man, we're getting into, and I've been watching a lot of the national comps last year, and St. Thomas from Canterbury won the first team from South Island to win the comp in the longest time. So it tells you about like across the country we're just recruiting really well. Guys from Otago, guys from Australia, like Australians are viewing us now as women. Who would have thought that
for us?
That you never would have thought that that it would go the other way around when we just losing so much talent. So, but for those boys, man, that will always be remembered. And then that's where you're saying what you're talking about the Luais and the Clearys and the Critters and you go up from now in 5 years' time or 6 or 7 years' time, whatever it is.
Yep.
And you all come in and you've had this system and you guys are the next Penrith potentially.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's my thoughts anyway. But what about you, bro?
Yeah, my last thoughts on that. If you haven't gone to check out the video, go check out the video, guys, too. I had a little bit of a typo in the video as well. The second try wasn't from Lennox Thingo. Unfortunately, that was on newsouthwales.com, and I was trying to pronounce the boys' names properly, so I had that up.
Someone really got into you there. I don't know if it was the mum or dad.
Shout out to him, bro. Hey, we can all learn to be better. You know what I mean? I'll take it on the head. Like, I should have been better in that moment.
Someone really ripped into
the amount of highlight. I watched the game. I watched all the highlights. I seen the play go over, but I just didn't click on it when I saw the score sheet and went, "Oh, yo, Lennox scored 2 tries in that game. What?" But overall, I think the biggest positive, first of all, we're setting standards there. So our juniors, these are like that was the junior out of all the junior squads.
Yeah,
it's the youngest ones. So the next ones that come up, they're coming into a championship squad, right? The Doggies have had that a years past and stuff like that. They've been undefeated through a lot of their Harold Matts teams. Every team that steps foot into that has that standard of being that one of the best development squads in the competition. Now we've got that, okay?
Yeah.
Those boys, hopefully a lot of those boys filter into our SG ball side and keep a close-knit group. And then we can push for a title there. Once we do that, push over to flag, push over to cup, and then we become that oil machine of like the Penrith Panthers that have won all those grades in one whole season, from first grade all the way down to Harold Matts. And we have that potential, the amount of talent we have in New Zealand. And plus, the biggest positive, as I touched on the video, is that Jack Thompson that came from Australia, for parents for a kid in Australia to have their parents to look at him and go, I trust you to go across over to a different country to develop your football. You know what I mean? That's a big thing for a very, very young kid. And I think that's the biggest thing we can take out of this. We've been so many times that New Zealand kids get pinched over to Australian teams. Yep. We've seen Jet Cleary now. We've seen Jack Thompson. We've seen, Luke Hanson's.
Yep.
That is positive, bro. That's the biggest positive I'd take out of it. That's when you know our club's in a really good place, and parents and that are actually trusting their kids to go overseas, away from them, or even coming with them to develop their football, and they can see this is a place that they can do that with. So that's the biggest positive, guys.
The other one is, and just quickly before, the satellite areas. You look at Canterbury now has a satellite team.
Yep.
So it's almost like these little mini academies around the country developing this talent, which is just insane. And I'm praying that one day we will get an academy, like where, like, how the top football Premier League teams have their own headquarters where everyone trains, eat their meals. That's just, we need to get to that level, and that will just, that will destroy the But no, I love it, man. We're in a great period of time.
100%.
Where we're watching the seeds being planted. And trees, little sproutings are coming through the branches, and then eventually they'll become the massive trees that we'll see in the future. So it's exciting, man, massively exciting. I mean, I just think about like a guy that Fisher Harris said, he had to go over to Aussie since he was 15, and great job by Penrith, did an amazing job. But why can't we do that here in New Zealand?
I know,
and that's what I'm excited. There's 20, 30 boys in that Harold Matts. They get the same opportunity, win a comp. Get developed at home with their families. They don't have to miss mum and dad. They don't have to get homesick. They don't have to get caught up in the other sides of Sydney life where you can get distracted and bad things can happen.
Exactly.
This is a great place for families too, bro. And I think that's the other thing for me, is helping our Pacific families, or all of our families, stay together. Like that's it for me.
100%, bro. And for all you bandwagon fans out there that jumped off the bandwagon for 2 games, right?
They couldn't last that long. They couldn't last that long, brother.
That bandwagon's still going to be going all the way for the next 10 years plus if the way we're going. So you better jump on now and just be a full-fledged Warriors fan and say you're day oneers from the start.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, guys, thank you very much, man. We've done a good 2 hours here. Appreciate you guys. Our regulars, who you are, Jazz, everyone, Tanya.
100%. We know you guys. You're incredible.
We appreciate you guys coming in. And don't forget, jump in on Around the League with Ash tomorrow night, guys. We're getting programming nearly for every evening, so you got no excuse. Have your dinner, come in, and literally enjoy a bit of content. And big up Ash for doing this, and I'm looking forward to that show tomorrow. But also, we will have full credit on Sunday. And Ash will be running that. Appreciate him, but we'll be in there. I'll be in there. Hopefully, get some others to come in and give some cordial as well. But thank you for all you guys' support. Again, like and subscribe if you haven't already.
100%.
And up the wahs.
Up the wahs, baby.
See you on Sunday.